Here we go. The greatest show on turf comes back to you along with Racing Post Live. Yes, we're with you Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday and Gold Cup Day Friday. Myself, Dave Orton, thrilled to be back in the chair. Look at it. We're all ready. Finally, the post-match talking is over. And we can get on with business. 1:30, we kick off with the Supreme Novice Hurdle. This is your place this week. When something reacts on the track, we've got the best of the business down at Prestbury Park. We've got the best of the business on the panel, talking you through all the action pre and post race as well. Let's have them. The talking's done. Facile Vega about to show us what he's really capable of, or is he, in the Supreme Novice Hurdle. Like, subscribe, comment on share if you're watching on YouTube. That's what it's all about. Anything on Twitter, hashtag RP Live. Right, let's get on with it. We'll be playing for this cup through the week. We've partnered up with the Injured Jockeys Fund. As you know, I can break the news. Mission Control have told me earlier in the gallery that we are pretty much level pegging going into that. So come Friday, the cheque will be written to the Injured Jockeys Fund. If you're having a good week, why don't you show them some love as well? We're all about charity here on the Racing Post Live. We're going to showcase how to put the bets on through the app. If you're new to this, get involved. We know some of you don't have the pictures coming from Prestbury Park, loads of international viewers, so we will do our very best to call the races, which I'm thrilled to say is going to be pretty straightforward today, courtesy of a monster panel. Yes, Danny Archer joins me. The Arch always on target.
How are you, Dave? You well?
I'm absolute. Well, this is the day, isn't it, Arch?
It is. No, listen, what more can you, after all the build-up and everything, I'm looking forward to getting it started, really. I'm seriously pumped. And the first day, you can't beat free. You know, those grade ones on the car particularly.
I've seen your tips, Dan, and I'm liking them.
I don't know, I think there's a few today. I think it's obviously always competitive on the first day. That Mare's Hurdle looks an absolute stonker. But I'm Team John Bon in the Arkle.
Already revealing. All right, get that out there. Come on then, let's hear what you get. We get loads of time in between the races to go through. Who else joins me on the panel? Do you know what? The boys are back in town, back on his spiritual home. I'm thrilled to say another race caller. You can, jack of all trades you've called yourself, is Ross Brierley.
How you doing, Dave?
Marvellous and beautiful to see your face sat there again.
It's been a while, hasn't it?
It has. Grand National Day last year, wasn't it?
Oh, God, has it honestly been that long? It probably has, hasn't it?
It has, when you were giving us all sorts of skits and we were calling home Sam Wally Cohen and Noble Yates, of course, struts his stuff this week.
Yeah, it was, and I mean, hopefully we'll have a slightly better feeling at the end of the race rather than how did that win and none of us backed it and everything we fancied, we thought was going to win. Obviously, any second now being the big one. I'm hoping we don't have a repeat of that feeling. I want the opposite of that feeling. I want that feeling where you've been talking it up for weeks and one actually goes in.
A great story, but punting-wise, a massive deflation.
It was, yeah, exactly that. Exactly that. Which, you know, wouldn't be the first time in here. But I'm also Team John Bon. Danny, I think it might be 50-50, so we've got the stronghold in the middle for the Arkle.
Blimey. Well, talk about deflations. Yes, he's back. It's the bear. Graeme Rodway joins us, and I have to tell you, he's in a stinking mood. All the rest of us were like, oh, it's Cheltenham Day, happy to be alive. Unlike you. You're controlling the iPad for me today. You're putting the team bets on and for charity. We've got Lucky 15 coming up, and you're going to showcase the stories as they're coming for the track. We've got all the quotes, all that sort of stuff. You're even going tomorrow, straight down the track after this. You'll be out to see the bear himself. What's wrong with you?
It's already been a long week, Dave, as you can imagine. And got caught in the most horrendous traffic this morning. I think everyone was going to Cheltenham this morning, you know, like I know the M25 is like car park most of the time, but yeah, you know, I can't wait for it all to get started. I get like this. When it comes to the Cheltenham, I've just written so much and spoken so much about it in the last 6 or 7 or 8 weeks. Like, everyone says they can't wait for Cheltenham just because how great it is. I just can't wait so that I don't have to talk about it anymore. I don't have to write about it. I just want to see what's going to happen. I can't wait.
Although listen, well, absolutely. Okay, well,
I don't think he's contributed to this.
Don't bring this up.
Don't
bring up the front page. If you've got the front page of your Racing Post, people, he's not on the front page, despite the fact he's written a lot more words than Keith Melrose. Keith Melrose joins us Thursday and Friday. He reckons he's called in the Gold Cup. That's his sort of traditional thing. He loves the Ida, so he comes in for that. He's also a goal cutter. We've got Nat Green coming in. We've got Bruce Millington coming in. Robbie Wilders joins us tomorrow as well. He's on particularly good form as well. I'll be with you.
I actually
all
thought
4 days.
Robbie seemed a bit like me, actually.
A bit nervous.
I actually thought he looked a bit tired when I saw him today.
Well, we've been honestly. Show some love for G Rod and the team's previews out there. They are the best they've ever been, I think.
Everyone said today how much they loved everything that went in the paper. Everyone that I've spoken to, and you know, when you're writing this stuff, that's all you want, isn't it? You want people to enjoy it. You want to build it up to be the great day that it is. I think we've got a day for the ages because we've got possibly the greatest jumps horse ever to grace the scene lining up.
It's very, very exciting, guys, isn't it? Of course,
Possibly.
Graeme is talking about the champion hurdle, of course, where he lines up against State Man, the best rated opposition he's ever faced today. And we've got 7 runners, Ross, but we'll get on to Supreme in a second, get the tips coming in, and let's go for it, guys. But lucky 15. But this is something, we have been waiting really since this day last year, haven't we?
Yeah, I think you get 2 types of champion hurdle, don't you? You get the ones where you think, oh, there's 4 or 5, anything could win. We're hoping to see someone stamp their authority on a division. And you get these champion hurdles where you think, what we want to see is an all-time performance. Or we want to see a titanic tussle between 2 horses who could genuinely be, the best in the last. State Man could easily be the best in the last decade and finish second to Constitution Hill. So, there's only £6 between them.
Yeah.
They're both 6-year-olds. State Man again can only beat what's put in front of him and all that jazz.
Yes.
So it is an absolutely fascinating clash. People. When we were doing the preview last night, were saying, "Oh, this is a rubbish champion hurdle." And it's like, yeah, if you want to back one each way at 16 4 places, it's a rubbish champion hurdle.
Yep.
But if you want to see 2 absolutely blinding top class national hunt racehorses, then this is. It's going to be an absolute.
I hope you told them to wash their mouth out with soap.
I just ignored them, Rodders.
I mean, how can you possibly suggest that this is not a good champion hurdle?
Because they're talking about the betting angle, right, guys? Well, this is why this show's here for you guys, because there's all sorts of different ways to play it. You've got the biggest distance race of the week. Is that now favourite? Bet365 did a great market for us on What a Shout Live on Friday. That was a new show that we go. That was awesome. That's your chance to back Constitution at 5-1. That's what it was. You got Shishkin on the Thursday. A lot of people think that he will be the distance winner of the week. You could back that at 8-1 at the time. There's all sorts of ways to play it. Without markets, there's without the top 2. Don't go into it, Danny, but that's where you're looking, isn't it?
Yeah, I think, I like to move it. I'm not going to say any more, but he's value in that
That's
market.
2
Danny,
tips
look,
you've given us,
come
Danny.
here, mate. Come here. What a guy.
We're building up, and honestly, we're trying to sort of like drum roll these tips. You've already got 2 of
Sorry.
Dan's.
Yeah.
Shall we, as they're going round, beautiful, look at this. We'll also talk about the ground, guys. We're going to get you the times as they come in. The going stick reading then, just quickly, Ross, 5.1, wasn't it, we saw? Yeah. That's pudding, isn't it?
It is. It's not far off chocolate. Yeah, it is going to be pretty. It's going to be a bit of a test, isn't it? And obviously we know a little bit better after the first. We didn't necessarily last year because Constitution Hill won this so impressively. You thought it might actually be Bath in the middle of the summer. But we're going to know better after this race. But it is definitely going to be a little bit of a test, which shouldn't be a problem, to be fair, for the majority of these horses. There's not many in here who haven't proven themselves in the likely conditions. But it's something to bear in mind. If you're thinking about a horse who might get away with it up the hill, I don't think that's going to be the case.
All right then. Who's got worried about the weather out there? They watered 2 weeks ago, of course. It was like the Sahara down in Gloucester, and now, of course, the heavens have opened. 7 mil overnight, more to come during the week as well. Who's that in favour of your anti-post selections? Let's, through this week as well, let's recap on the divisions as well. Before we lead up to Constitution Hill, we'll talk about this time last year, what we expected, what he's done since, who's still in that division and who isn't. But Graeme Rodway, it's lucky 15 time before we give our singular tips for the Supreme Novice Hurdle.
Okay, yeah, let's do the lucky 15 then. You might have to remind me of what it is. It's the Orte Tomp, isn't it? Because I know that we're doing that
accumulator.
What is a lucky 15? Quite right. Well, absolutely. This is your time to talk them through that.
Yeah.
Quite right. There'll be lots of people that are new to the show. This is the one day, along with Grand National Saturday of the year, where we get a lot of newcomers to the game. So we're going to talk you through it. And
I was being facetious, but that's actually a good. Yes,
it is. So talk us through a lucky 15.
Yeah, it's 4 singles, 6 doubles, 4 trebles, and an accumulator.
As I was talking, I could see his eyes moving around like a little clockwork. The cogs were working, and you nailed it.
So we've got Orte Tomp, which I don't think will win, but I'm.
This is a team bet,
I'm being forced to put it in. Yeah, I mean, I don't fancy that. Okay, and then in the Arkle, what have we done in the Arkle? Are we doing one in the Arkle?
I think we're dodging it because
aren't we?
50-50.
We are doing one.
Yeah.
Oh, we
We
are.
are doing one. This is all played through the Racing Post app, guys. You can get on the app. It's free. The Google Store or the App Store itself. Just get down. Takes 30 seconds. It's unbelievable. All the bookmakers are on there. We're doing best odds guaranteed. That's the beauty of this. You'll see the starting prices there. Look, 130 coming up. At the moment, he's 15-8. We're going with the horse that beat him from the same stable. Mullins has got 17 runners today, guys. Woo! Unbelievable. That's as many as Hendo and Gordon Elliott combined.
But again, reminder, in the paper today, if he's got a 12% strike rate. So, we're only looking at 2 winners is what he should be going for.
And we'll hone in on why Graeme doesn't think that. Let's get on with this then. All right, El Fabiolo.
Is that what we're going for?
To sink John Bon in the Arkle. That was,
Excellent.
yes.
Someone let me have a say. Was it Sam Hart?
I believe so. I believe so.
that's
Come on,
our
let's keep going
producer.
down. Let's keep going down.
Okay, and then we're into, I presume
Now we're into filthy arch time here because this is filth all over it, this one. Is this what we went for? This is yours, wasn't it, Arch?
What's this? I like
This
to
is
know.
fast or slow,
Oh,
isn't it?
fast or slow. The Ultima. Yeah. I'm taking on a terrible stat. Not from 16 in the last 16 years. The Irish. They haven't won this race for a long, long time.
And what is he now? He's into 15 to... This is a horse that doesn't basically raise his leg until he comes to Cheltenham. This is your Buena Vista. This is your Holywell, isn't it? This is the horse that turns up on the day and shows that he's still alive, basically.
He's thrown in, hopefully. And then, I don't know, are we going on to the mares? I don't know where we're going. Mares, hurdle, or
What's
later on the
next?
card. Champion hurdle, no bet.
It's me now.
It's
And
you. What
we
do you
end
like?
on a race for the ages. Not only have we got the champion hurdle, but you tell me a mare that could be better or one that's missing from the lineup in the mares at 4:10. And we've got the last 3 champion hurdle winners amongst us in this race. Honeysuckle's taken 2. The more she drifts, the more I'll be with her. We'll talk about that coming up, but I think Epatant's the bet here. It's the Constitution Hill form. She breezed to success last time out as well. And she is the last leg in our Lucky 15 for the Injured Jockeys Fund this afternoon on day 1 of the 2023 Cheltenham Festival. Have you got this on? Take Honeysuckle out.
What are we going to do? We're going to do a £1, £1
Should we go
lucky
each
15?
way?
Yeah, I think so.
It's all about the profit for the charity, isn't it?
£1,754.
I do, wouldn't it?
That you do, absolutely.
Slightly
Quite
more.
right. There you go. You just got it up to 1,800. There was a boost for us there. There you go. Light lightning, it is on. You can do that. It's all about safe gambling this week. There are so many races coming your way. Away cards, Champions League this evening, all that sort of stuff. We know you are itching. And while we're not going to hide away from the word betting this week, we do take your time, guys. Don't chase your losses. You know the drill by now. And if you just want a small outlay to follow us throughout the day, they are our 4 main players for you. That took some agreeing, let me tell you. And you could tell
I don't
because
think I did agree.
Well, no, you were last in the studio as usual because you've been slobbing on pizza out there. We've got honestly the Racing Post HQ. I've never seen as many people in here before we launched this show. Me and Ross and you in 2020.
It's because they heard that the pizza was going to be in.
It's because they knew that this was the... I genuinely think this is going to be... The way I've been looking at it is the best Cheltenham for years, genuinely for years. This is properly back to pre-COVID kind of excitement levels. Field sizes, competitiveness, the fact that Hendo has the only 2 odds-on shots in the entire week, and one of those is Shishkin. I'm not saying vulnerable, but let's... I've just seen there's each way betting available in the Ryanair against the favourite.
Yeah.
Constitution Hill's got a genuine contender, and every race, even Galloping Deschamps has the best Gold Cup field I have seen in ages. This week just looks insane. That's why everyone's in the office.
You reckon?
Well, all that or the pizza.
Yeah, Robbie Wilders, who's the vegan in town, he was all on his own, wasn't he, with the mountains of pizza because nobody wanted the the pesto
Is that why you went and
versions.
stood next to him?
Well, of course, because I'm thank
make
you,
him
I'm a
feel
nice
better.
chap. And I actually had a very nice slice of his pizza. Right, okay, let's move on, because we are playing for this bad boy, regular viewers will know. 5 points for a win, 3 points for a second, and a point for a third, the lowest of the places, isn't it? We'll be playing throughout the day. We've got Mission Control, the Gallery boys as well. We've got James, we've got Will Carey, and we've got Samuel Hart, the Jam Tart, with us all week. All right, and they are going to be putting in their selections as well.
This is a great moment, isn't it, Dave? Just as the runners are going down.
And the sun is out at Prestbury Park, which is lovely, isn't it? The crowd is absolutely teeming there. We'll be keeping an eye on who might get buzzed up.
To be fair, this is a key one, because Ilite Tomt is always buzzed up.
Because he wears a hood, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Right, let's get on to this, because you talked to us about the fact we've got 2 odds-on favourites this week.
Yeah.
When Faisal Vega came out and strutted his stuff on his hurdling debut, Was it early December? I think it was something like that, wasn't it?
Yep.
We looked like we were going to have a fountain of pouring on the odds-on favourites, and this guy has been the real Marmite horse of the week, I think now.
Yeah, he won his maiden hurdle on my birthday, actually, odds of 1 to 9. And
Steaming.
An RPO. Yeah. I opened all the cards, took the 20s out. Said,
Most people have a crate with sprinkles on it. You had a sprinkle.
I did. Yeah. And he won in an RPR of 129, which, if you take away the 1, is how old I was. I wish. But yeah, he went from 5 to, I think it was 5 to 6 after that, to 6 to 1 after Leopardstown.
6 to 1 in a place, wasn't it?
Yeah, to 2 to 1 now. So the big thing for this, like, look. For me, historical averages, the speed figures I use, you've got to hit a certain level. You've got to hit a certain level to win a Supreme. You've got to come in here. You can improve £7 or £8 maybe, but you've got to come in at a certain level. 9 of them have done it in this year's Supreme. Last year, 2 had done it.
Right.
So this is absolutely wide open. He's just what him, Ilite Tant, Marine Nationale, in the pocket, Tamora's High Definition, Dark Raven. Who are the others? Rare Edition and Strong Leader have all reached that level. So this is absolutely, it's a fantastic Supreme.
What do we make of it going in? Is this like going to be like an alpha off Supreme? You know, where we're going to be talking about some greats coming out of it?
It's going to be a Shishkin. We talked about that was the last one pre-COVID. You had Shishkin, you had Asterion Phalange,
Yes.
You had Abacadabras, you had Edwardstone, you had Heaven Help Us, you had Chantry House. It threw up winner after winner after winner. I think this is going to be one of those. Facile Vega, Champagne Fever, the only bumper horse to double up in 30 years. Appreciate it's the only horse to have won the Christmas Leopardstown race and this.
Yeah.
Last 25 years, only 3 horses have won the Supreme off the back of a defeat, and the only one to be unplaced was Le Bake.
It's almost as if you've been doing preview shows, Ross.
It is, but this is such a... Because I looked at it, but it's this race, it's such a good race. So... Of course he can win.
Ilite Tant for you then.
But he's the solid one. He's hit the level required to win a Supreme.
Who of course
3
picked
times.
up the pieces behind Facile Vega last time in what looks like the key race coming in here. Danny, you like him as well?
I like him. He was impressive on that occasion. I like the way he quickened up from the turn for home. In the pocket, caught the iron defeat. I'm surprised they're going here. I thought they would have gone for the Ballymore, but he's another one to note. Marine Nationale, I'd be a bit concerned. I know he won on soft in the Royal Bond, but I think he's a better
unbeaten.
horse.
Something that Facile Vega isn't now.
And at a bigger price, Dr. Bravo ran well when third behind Fildor last month and could be one at an each way price. But Ilite Tant for me. Facile Vega, I think I couldn't be backing a horse at 2 to 1 who was 5th last time out and bitterly disappointed.
He might as well be coming in with a P next to his name, might it was that bad.
So the question that was in my mind this morning was, if he'd done that at Christmas and then come out and won last time out, what price would he have been?
Yeah.
You don't like him, G, do you? Let's put the bet on, please, for the engine jockeys, because I'm with this as well. I got it down to 2.
You're on the Ilite Tant as well.
I thought Tamoros was the other shout in here, but I thought Ilite Tant. Look, this is voodoo stuff, isn't it? A horse that was beaten in last year's Triumph, coming out and winning the next year's Supreme. It's almost unheard of, isn't it? I think that's why a lot of people still don't believe in him.
Well, but you were saying this. Mullins is good at this. And
Are we on?
Yeah, we're on.
Concertista, for example, was beaten in the Mares that came back the next year and won.
Yes. So I know second season novices do win. At Fisher's Cross was a great case, but he didn't run at the festival. You know.
I think that that Facile Vega will definitely beat Ilite Tant this time. I think he beat him easily enough at Leopardstown, and I don't.
What was the stat in your great preview that I read this morning of this race? It said Mullins' runners that haven't got a 1 next to their name coming in.
Yeah, they're 5%, which is obviously
poor,
pretty poor. But I do think you'll see a different Facile Vega here to the one that Ilite Tant.
Look at the love for Ilite Tant. Look, Graham's gone for Marine Nationale then.
I'm
You're not worried about the rain. I must admit, I
Marine
looked at his
Nationale.
pedigree, I looked at he has won on soft ground.
I'm not a ground punter. I genuinely believe that he's one of the most overplayed factors in racing, and I often think that
is the soft ground.
we've had this discussion many times, but I genuinely
Mission
think
Control
that
keep
ground
going
won't
on
be
to
that
tell
bad.
me they're on Ilite Tant as well. Yes, we know you're out there. They can see it on the screen, for God's sake.
Just one more word on the other one that Danny mentioned is in the pocket, who beat 3-Car Bragg over 2.5. If this is a test, and stayers win the Supreme. I know this sounds silly, but if you look at it, often speedy horses actually win the Ballymore, and the horses who end up being stayers win the Supreme.
We've got a horse that nearly won a Tattersalls Gold Cup on the flat in high definition, one-time Derby favourite. We've got Diverge, who was, a lot of punters suggesting he might be a dark one. Dark Raven, who comes here, who beat Dr. Bravo.
He's been smashed up, 22 into 11.
Who Dark Raven has. He's also really
player.
like. I just wonder whether he's running in the right race.
But he beat Dr. Bravo comfortably. He did an RPR first time out over hurdles, fresh off a bumper of 134, and then he finished third, and he couldn't jump at Leopardstown last time out. But he went from bumper to maiden hurdle to grade
he
1
missed
company.
A year, didn't he?
Yeah, and
it was my horse to follow, and then he
Here
missed
we
a
go,
year.
Dave. They're coming in.
All right, come on then, let's get our own roar going up, shall we? Like everyone does. Good luck to you, whichever way you play. It is the opening race of the day. It is the Supreme Novice Hurdle. I'm going to throw to Danny Archer, who's then going to throw to Ross Brierley for the call as well. We'll come to Graeme and me to give you thoughts in the run. Wherever you play, looks at high definition. Wants to get on with it, Danny Archer.
Undecided orders then for the 2023 Cheltenham Festival. Supreme Novices Hurdle gets us underway. Grade 1 contest, 14 runners going to post. And your favourite is
There we go.
And away they go for the opener. Prominent early, rare edition, quite keen, along with Chasing Fire. And in the middle is High Definition, Fraden O'Brien as they come to the first. All over safely. Slight mistake from Facile Vega, who shuffled back. Still at the moment, Chasing Fire, High Definition and Rare Edition. Also prominent towards the outside is Dark Raven. Then in between these is Strong Leader, Dr. Bravo, then a gap back to Tar Morris, Marine Nationale, Facile Vega, and at the back of the field is Ilite, Tomp, Diverge, and also Fenner Cross. At the back of the field, Palace Boy.
How are we settling Ross Brierley on LA Tomp?
He looks to be settled okay. Marine Nationale's a little bit fresh, I think, but he hasn't been on track for a while, so that's probably got something to do with that. They're not going a mad gallop. We're not going an insane pace. They are a little bit faster than I think you'd want to be. If you're around the 30 mile an hour mark, you're absolutely laughing in front. So it's a bit stop-start at the moment.
Yeah. They're letting him have his own way almost. Now Rare Edition's going on with it, G-Rod. I'm looking at Marine Nationale, G. If I said one horse I wasn't happy with how he settled, it might be him.
Yeah, he's got his head in the air a little bit, and he's maybe not settled as you would hope for Marine Nationale.
Oh, look at that crowd, lads.
Yeah,
oh,
really
my
big
God,
crowd.
lads and lasses. That is outstanding, isn't it? In the sunshine there, passing the stands. Wow.
So again, they've slowed it down, which is not necessarily great for stayers like in our pocket or Ilite Tomp who want them to go a mad gallop. High Definition, bearing in mind that, again, he's another one who did a fantastic figure in his maiden hurdle, and he is a Group 1 class stayer. Tamoris, for me, is in the absolute pitch-perfect position right now.
This looks like such a classy field on looks, doesn't it? I mean, you've got Chasing Fire, you've got Strong Leader, two horses I absolutely love, G. Not on form, you can't have them, but they're unbeaten as well.
Yeah, Rare Edition obviously was very good at Kempton, wasn't he? Ran a good time that day. It's a really classy field, isn't it? I think they have quickened it up, obviously coming down the hill as they go out on the back straight. They're all going well, aren't they, Dave?
What are we making of the ground, chaps? Just a visceral look for everyone at first. It looks fine, doesn't it? I mean, it was sort of like, is there any good to soft there, or is this what we want? Winter ground.
It's hard to tell, isn't it? But they're not kicking loads up, and everything seems to be jumping out of it all right. Marine Nationale not too great there. The outsider with a lot.
Palace Boy.
Yeah, he's not enjoying it, nor is Fenner Cross. Strong Leader's in a nice posse. I had him down as a proper Aintree horse. I think he's the best of the Murphy pair. I think he'll beat Chasing Fire.
I agree with that. He's a very green horse, isn't he? And Chasing Fire's good. Again, really sexy field. This Danny Archer picking up for where's Facile?
I'm a bit nervous. This could get messy for Ilite Tomp, who made a mistake there and has got to come through in the pocket. Marine Nationale.
Tamoris is travelling, isn't he?
They're not going quickly here. This is the problem. No. They are dawdling out in front. We've seen Champagne Fever, Classical Dream. We've seen horses make all in Supremes. And
Facile still remains favourite, guys.
They're travelling, isn't he? Facile Vega going well. They're all going well though, Dave.
High Definition then still in the lead with Rare Edition. Dr. Bravo on the outside along with Chasing Fire. Ilite Tomp looks keen and has started to come through along with Facile Vega.
They're really ramping now.
Marine Nationale, they're all in contention.
Yeah,
they're trapping.
High Definition out in front.
Out.
Here we go. Who's going to jump it?
That's the third
Again,
last.
LA Tomp, not great there. Marine Nationale catching the eye. All the big players coming to the fore. Tamoris now, he's the stayer in the pack. He's just about to get a bit tough, isn't he?
Chasing Fire in front, Facile Vega absolutely cruising. Dr. Bravo on the outside,
Dark Raven
along
as
with
well.
Dark Raven. Marine Nationale trying to creep into it. Facile Vega takes over there, and the favourite is in front. Ilite Tomp under pressure. Marine Nationale, the one who's tanking into it, but Facile Vega, the favourite leads as they turn in. Dark Raven in
Nationale's the
second.
danger, guys.
Marine Nationale hasn't come off the bridle yet, but are we in clover here, favourite backers? Facile Vega leads as they come to the last.
It's a 1,
Marine
2, 3
Nationale, Diverge also staying on. Marine Nationale tries to serve it up to Facile Vega. The Irish strong points coming to it. Facile Vega, Marine Nationale.
He's
They're over.
overwhelmed.
Facile Vega's
Get
done
it.
it. And Marine Nationale going up the hill. Keep an eye on Diverge in third as well, but Marine Nationale, they said he was good. He lives up to his billing. Marine Nationale wins the Supreme Novices Hurdle for Connell.
Absolutely unbelievable scenes here. A race that has delivered for you on our Racing Post Live. Oh, Mikey O'Sullivan, my lord, what a cool customer he was. He fluffed the last in the Royal Bond. We've not seen him since. He remains unbeaten. You held your breath, you backers out there, coming to that last race. Ross Brierley, what sort of form are we making of that? All the big players were there.
It looked a good race before. It played out like a good race. They went a reasonable gallop early on, but they really quickened. And you could see the front runners completely dropped out the back of the telly. But Marine Nationale, last 8 Royal Bond winners to come here have been beaten. He breaks that. And what a week it could be for the team with Goodland tomorrow as well. But he was keen early on, but of course he absolutely loved the pace collapse last time out, and we knew he was going to be strong at the finish. Facile Vega has run an absolute blinder, given that
there he is, look.
He made 2 at least terrible mistakes, but Marine Nationale, it's just the one thing I think we underestimate in racing time and time again, which sounds ridiculous, is horses who win races. They didn't win by far, or it wasn't a very good race, or the pace collapse. But if you can find a way to win, that is the key to being a top-class racehorse. And this horse keeps doing it. So absolutely fair play to him. I think this race will work out gangbusters. I think all the right horses in the right place. And yeah, it was a cracker. 2
points. They diverge on a screamer. He's the one I'm taking out of it. He stayed
the
on
British
so
horse,
strongly.
by the way, guys.
You were right about the Bromhead horse, though. I think he got outpaced, and he just kept going. I think the Ballymore might have suited him.
But the thing I'd say about Barry Connell, though, he had big cojones. He said, this horse, he will win. He was so bullish, and to be fair to him, not many people do that. And actually, he's lived up to it. So fair play to him. I've got a lot of respect for a trainer coming out and saying
Hugh
that.
Masson opens up the social corner. Danny Archer, you were saying about Diverge there, one of the first 8 home. My Lord, Timoris went out like a light there. Paul Nicholls will be thinking, not again, please. Listen, 1 race down, the Irish Phil, the first 8 places, and it looked like we had a really strong home challenge there as well. Barry Connell now playing it cool, the former market trader, turning his hand, doesn't he? Used to ride bumper horses, of course, in his colours, and he's had some real worldies over the year, and
the jockey as well. First year,
big move.
Royal Bond winner, good land.
A lot been said about O'Connell and his jockeys and all that sort of thing. And you were grumpy coming in. That's all changed, isn't it?
Now.
Yeah, I love backing the winner of the Supreme. It just gets the week off to a flyer, doesn't it? What a result! And so happy with that victory. So happy that it wasn't Willie Mullins, that it wasn't Nicky Henderson, that it wasn't Henry de Bromhead, that it wasn't Gordon Elliott. It was Barry Connell. One of the real stars over the years.
There's a lot of love for the jockey in the chat, guys. We're going to build your chat in a second.
Used to ride, own loads of horses, puts lots of money into the game, lots of time into the game, taken on the training reins. He's been so good this year, Barry Connell. He's got a 25% strike rate with all his runners this year. I had no doubts that he could get it done. And fair play, I think, was it Danny said that he bigged this horse up big time.
He said, I've got the best horse in both the races. You've got Goodland running in the opener tomorrow as well.
He said that he thought this horse would be a Group 1 class horse on the flat in the run-up to this race. And
he's by French Navy, who, of course, was, O'Brien on the flat, wasn't he? And I looked at his pedigree because a lot of people had the ticket. He went anti-post favourite at one point when Facile flopped so badly in his last run at the DRF, and then he's been weak because the heavens have opened. He had only run once on soft ground, and it was a win. But all his top form has been on top of the ground, if you like, and you wondered why the break. Now, this is also another stat that's bust.
Yeah.
Well, stat schmats, a lot of you will be saying, trends, out the window and all that.
The thing is with trends and stats is, if you've got one that is kind of against one horse, then fair enough. If you've got a trend against the first 5 in the betting, it all cancels each other out.
Ran within the last 66 days, 9 of the last 10, and I think the one above that was 80 odd. So he's shown that training methods are different now.
Still 9 in the last 11, though.
Yeah, well, there you are. Absolutely.
I often think that this sort of thing comes actually down to the individual horse. Some horses are better off a break, and some horses are better off quick runs.
The obvious example being Classical Dream in the Stayers, right? He's just mad best fresh, isn't he?
Well, and there's one I fancy in the Coral Cup, Good Risk at All, whose record after a break is first, second, first, second.
Oh, you love these. You love these ones.
Well, but it's about finding that profile, isn't it? And it's like
was the horse
Benny's King.
It's a skeleton horse.
Benny's King.
Benny's King was
Well,
your
his
night.
record on his second run was phenomenal. And his
Ross
first
never
was
stopped
awful.
going on about this, by the way. It was borne out. Don't back him first time, it's second time.
We can talk about this actually with regards to the next race, but Marine Nationale's last win in the Royal Bond was off a 50-day break. So the horses obviously just were good fresh. And Barry Connell knew it, and he got the horse there absolutely bang on, fresh, and he did the business.
Oh, do you know what? And there's going to be a
Well,
trophy
we
update.
had
Look
the,
at that. There is your next star hurdler. This is why I do these shows.
Is he though? Is he your next
This
star
is the thing.
chaser?
This is what I'm going to. This is where we play the programme book game. We've got Bruce Millington coming on tomorrow. He hates it when I do this, but this is the analyst in me, right? I want to tell you post race where we're going next. I mean, he's fresher than most at this time of year, obviously. I'm going to suggest he won that with a good bit in the tank.
I see. You want to watch that back again, but at one point you thought, he was a little bit keen early on. Is he going to pick up Facile Vega? And I know Facile Vega's mistake played into it, but that is the sign of a champion. His neck was as straight as you could possibly get coming over the line. He was pulling away. He was almost hitting his stride as they crossed the line, and that was a really.
So what are
really
we doing?
impressive
Look, forget about this season. He'll probably go back to Punchestown, or maybe even Fairyhouse, wherever they want to go with him. You'd imagine it won't be because of the way Easter falls. Aintree. We're watching the replay up the hill. Glorious sunshine. Look at that, and not too much mud flying up either. And I suppose all eyes on the first race time because this was the horse that was thought to want the ground on top.
So I'm just going to have a look now, see, because this is a good view to.
He hit the last Facile, didn't he?
So Rare Edition pulled up, who obviously had problems since his last run. Palace Boy, Fenacross, Chasing Fire, like I said.
They've not all got home, have they? I don't know.
Timoris, Strong Leaders beat Chasing Fire, so that match bet came off. But the rest of the Irish. I tell you one, the one, and God knows.
Was he the best of the British strong leader there?
I think he was in that picture, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
The one who again, it's stupid to be looking at a race like this and thinking the one you take out of it. But I don't know what you do with high definition, but a flat track bully he surely is, and he's the one who actually kind of got involved in that early
He got
pace
taken on and still finished the fight in the front.
He ran all right.
Yeah, well, we know the engine's there from the flat, and it is great to see these flat horses, actually try these top races. So look, let us know what will this year's Supreme turn out to be. Will it be like the Arkle, which comes up next, where John Bon, El Fabiolo, the class, if you like, Dysart Dynamo, the 2 mile hurdlers are all having a go at each other? Let us know. Let's get some socials up on the screen, Ross.
Yeah, well, a couple of things. I'll tell you what, if this is the app guy.
He is the app guy.
And I genuinely think Danny should stick to commentating for the rest of the afternoon. We'll pitch in because that was.
You enjoyed
Chef's
that.
Kiss. That was fantastic.
Who enjoyed Danny's
I was being
call
passionate.
out there? I bet you're delighted I'm not doing it, that's for sure. Brad Powell. Sounds like a stir fry. 100% chaser in the making, says Brad. Spicy one at that.
2 Brad Powell.
2 Brad Powell, please, my fine person. All right, okay.
Just going to say, French Navy, of course, it's early days for
I
him.
knew you'd be doing this.
Well, because I was looking, I wonder what
This
his
is
record
the sire
is.
of Marine Nationale.
Yeah, he's not got many of the jumps, so we can't definitely
He's not
say.
got that many on the flat.
No.
I looked. Are you on Raceform Interactive?
No, I'm just on the Racing Post website, but
Okay.
I'll get some stats up. But basically,
Has he got chasers?
No, well, he hasn't had enough jumps runners to have chasers yet.
Okay.
So we can't make that judgment.
He's his
But
best by far, isn't he? I think, looking at the stats.
Ah, here we go.
he looks an
06
Arkle
Kylie
horse.
as well. Oh, yes, I like this. A lot of them saying out this as well, Kylie. O'Sullivan will be McManus stable jockey in a year. God, look at the smile.
Might
on
be a
the
little
lad's
bit
face
longer
as well.
than a year, I'd say, but there's definitely possible, isn't it?
Oh, look at this, Graham. I suppose for us guys, the only way is up. Dave Orton 0, Ross Brierley 0, Danny Archer 0, Mission Control unsurprisingly
I think
0.
that the trophy's in the wrong spot.
The trophy is, yes, all right, fair point. Livid that he wasn't on the front page of the Racing Post today, but
he's the top of the table.
going back to French Navy, he's got that Regal Blue in there. I say that Regal Blue. This is the very expensive pointer that was bought by Tedham's owner and John Joe O'Neill, and they think he needs soft ground and they think he must have fences. So perhaps we're going to see a lot of these store horses from French Navy coming out and showing what they're worth.
He has had 0 runners over fences as of yet. But his hurdles record before that was, where are we? Not sure. He was
I'm trying to
on soft
remember what
ground.
French Navy was. on the flat.
Listed winner.
Yeah,
a
he was a
couple
good
of times for
Dolphin
Charlie
horse,
Appleby, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Just a winning time there, 3:59.69. So that would probably equate to it being soft side of good to soft, probably not much worse. So
There you go. So look, we know it gets sloppy at Cheltenham, and this is the classic. All of us that are on this is my 23rd festival of watching every single race. Would you believe it? And
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah, we'll talk about these. I'm going to ask you for your first festival memories. I got lucky. I got the Easterbrook gear and Tutshiv in the Arkle and all that sort of thing. And I had a really good one, back in the day. I think I started off with 30 quid, which is probably a bit more than it's now worth. And I think I came up on the week, thanks to this day actually, about 600 quid up, which was like back in the day for 20-something. I was absolutely hooked. But it was more the way that Channel 4 covered it. It was the Alistair Downs, eulogies around. I was totally encapsulated about it, the story of Easterbrook and stuff like that, which is obviously what we're going to see if we can better Easterbrook's Racing Post rating this afternoon, all these 23 years later. But I can't remember where on earth I was going with that. But
you said 23 years every race.
That year, 2000, forget me if I'm wrong, it was mainly solid weather throughout the week. Recently, the Wednesday last year when Commander of Fleet took out that Coral Cup, we're all, snorkels were out, weren't they?
Well, I've never been so wet on a racecourse in my life, and I've been to a lot of racecourses a lot of times. And last year I was there on the Wednesday.
Was that because people were throwing water balloons at you and buckets and stuff?
They tried. But no, I've never been so wet on a racecourse as I was last Wednesday at Cheltenham. And by the first race on Friday, it was nearly good ground.
So what do we...
It really, really, really dries fast.
So this is what I'm saying.
It is only ever really truly soft ground at Cheltenham if it rains heavily on the day.
Yeah, and it gets because they can't do anything about it, right? And the wind doesn't blow.
But if they have an overnight where it's dry and then it's dry in the morning, it doesn't matter if it's rained for the last 30 days beforehand. It's always good ground.
Yeah.
3 minutes 59.9, soft ground edging towards good to soft, if anything. So which it will obviously. It's a beautiful day. I think it will.
It's kind of what we were expecting, and no worse than that, thank goodness.
Yeah.
Of course, we've not had a chase yet.
That's absolutely perfect, isn't it?
Yes, because
that's what we want.
Well, you say that
soft
throughout this season. Seriously, we don't know what we're going to get one day to the next, do we? And we've had small fields because it's been roasting hot and things like that. There's been no rain. There was a really, really dry January, February by seasonal averages, and we needed this rain, didn't we? If we didn't have the rain that's just come or the rain that's coming now, come July time, we're going to be looking at that horrible yellow grass out there, and courses struggling to put racing on and stuff like that. So we needed this wet time, but it has, of course, levelled up the field. And the Irish are loving life because the first 8 home in the Supreme.
Well, and again, the figure, like I said, the horses who'd hit those levels to win a Supreme, the top 2 were Facile Vega and Marine Nationale with 772, and they were both recorded on pretty much ground that you're getting today. So it's not Wexford, Goran Park level ground, but it's certainly...
Oh yeah,
it's also worth making the point, right, that these are very, very lightly raced horses, and at this stage of their career, we don't really know what is their preferred conditions. You hear things like, Marine Nationale, we're not sure he's going to go on soft ground, but he'd only ever run 2 or 3 times in his career, so he had yet really to prove that he didn't act on it, if you know what I mean.
Someone's trying to call me out in the chat. They've said, sorry, Dave, I think 2000 was abandoned due to foot and mouth.
It wasn't. That was 1999.
No, it was 2001.
Oh, was it? Yeah,
I was watching in Australia.
Yeah.
Might surprise you to know that I was down there watching racing at that time.
You were in Australia.
I could listen. If you want me to talk about that, I can.
Never guessed.
I can. And I got so lucky with the Cheltenham Festival. I wasn't even here for the year it got called off.
Is it big down under?
It is big down under. Why did you go there with that? Graeme Rodway trying an Australian accent, and we do have our Australian viewers out there. Doubtless to say there are pitchforks waiting for you outside this office, and now in Adelaide, which is lovely. Of course, you've tipped them a winner, so they're all singing your praises. This is Rachel Blackmore Day. Says Briar's 90. That's not you by any chance, is it?
90, definitely not. No, he's Briar's 84. I think it would be
Rachel Blackmore Day. Well, of course, bad. Of course, in the Boodles, which has been a seismic gamble, is fancied by the Pauling team. Well, I've
got a little angle on that later. I'll tell you.
Well, there's a surprise, and of course, it is Honeysuckle Day, isn't it? Again, what drama stories we've had throughout this season. It's been remarkable, isn't it? Should she still be running in the 3:30? It's academic. She goes back to try and regain the mayor's title.
I tell you one thing I would mention here is when it does go soft at Cheltenham, as Paddy Brennan fully knows, you want to be going wide, you want to be coming down this near side. And looking at that, the first 3 home have definitely raced quite comfortably. The first 2 home, 3 of the first 4, Diverge is probably down the inside, but Facile Vega's got plenty of space, Marine Nationale, obviously the 4th in our pocket as well, and Dark Raven who finished 5th. They're all noticeably off that rail.
Yes, yes they are. So the inside we're looking at, I'll keep looking at that.
And it could well be just that obviously in a race of that nature, you don't want to be getting stuck in a pocket, but you can almost see them slow down there, the Erudition and Tamoras.
So badly.
And Diverge switches and comes down the outside, so it's always the best place to be on the hurdles track.
Can't just be the inside for Tamuras. I mean, he was quite green when he won the Tolworth, wasn't he? And he did make a few mistakes, but he was out like a light. Paul Nicholls and Ditchy will be thinking, please, not again. And there is dust coming up there. But look, there you go, future markets. On the assumption, and this is what we're hearing, this fella is headed. I mean, could he meet Constitution Hill next year, or is Constitution Hill just going to rid it? If he went over fences,
he could meet Constitution Hill.
Or does he just go straight champion chase?
Does he go straight Gold Cup?
Well, you just never know. But look,
He's
what do
only
you
6,
fancy
isn't
out
he?
there? You can have 5-1 best price for the Arkle this time next year, and for the Turners. Well, he's going to start off Arkle, isn't he? Because let's make no bones about this. If you've got a horse that could win the Arkle, you're going to aim at it. Like John Bond's about to come under that
Look
radar.
at him again, though. He's pulling away there. Look at that neck.
He's a beautiful, rangy animal, isn't he?
I think he's a fast horse. I think.
I'm going to give a couple of shout-outs to people who've been tipping him on this show over there. I know Kate Tracy was extremely popular on this horse. This is the apple of her eye. Is anyone watching Kate's media account? Her Instagram's excellent, actually. She does what she does this week. The reason why she's not in here is
because she's with the Mullins team.
Yeah, well, you're going to see on a Good Morning show, I think, by the way, which you're on tomorrow morning, 8:30.
I am on tomorrow, 8:30 in the morning. Hopefully, I'll be able to kick off with some more winners.
Yeah, absolutely, and kick off probably with the panellists as well, knowing you. Yeah, absolutely. So look, this has been well tucked up. This Marine Nationale. This man went for it on the day at the end as well. He's leading the tips in this. We've got what? Around about 20 minutes now until the Sporting Life Arkle Challenge Grade 1 comes off, and we have a field of 9 coming your way for that. And just a reminder, if you want to get involved with all the free bets and stuff, if you're not signed up to the Members Club, there it is. We've got this great, I mean, there's a lot of free bets out there if you know how to play that game properly. Just go to the Racing Post, there's the link. You know how to do it. There's a great offer up there for you as well in the Members Club at the moment as well. Go to Cheltenham, what is it, / free bets, is it? racingpost.com / free bets. There you go. They kept it more simple than I told you it was. Surprise, surprise. Okay.
Big shout out to Briar's 90, though. He's a Brierley as well. There's not many of us.
Is that right? Have you done any genealogy? It's not genealogy, it's it's genealogy.
Yeah.
That would interest you, I'm sure.
On my mum's side, my great auntie, Jean, she traced us all the way back to King Harold and all that jazz.
What's the brilliant, like Danny Dyer? What's the the Northern Danny Dyer? Who called you that? What's that BBC programme? The one where they? I mean, I can't stand that sort of thing until I get to the end, and it's like Show Me the Money film. What was that called? Jerry Maguire.
Yeah.
You know, at the end where he's like, I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to cry.
Yeah, like, this is
everyone cries on that show.
Yeah.
Maybe we can aim for some tears on this show. What do we need Constitution Hill today to reduce Graeme Rodway to tears of brilliance?
I nearly was there last year, I think, after he won the Supreme.
Because you were the first person to flag him up last year. We will give you that one. Because you were there that day you won, weren't you?
I'm going to start listening to you for the. I don't think I've backed a Supreme winner since.
Well, it doesn't always happen like this. Just 2 lucky years, obviously. You know, clock's right once every 24 hours.
Rodders, if you get another one, they'll put you on the front page.
Well, yeah, I won't hold my breath.
There's a poll out there. Who wins the Arkle, by the way? Loads of votes coming in for that. Is it the match race that we're envisaging? Not sure. Devo, good afternoon out to you there in the chat, my old friend.
Hello, Devo.
He wants Dysarth. Well, he's kind of, I don't know how you spell that, but the Dynamo, filthy each way, says Devo. Graeme Rodway's mate. Oh, and he also comes back with a beauty. I'm going to let the guys build that up, though, for you out there. All right, a clock is right twice a day, not once. Whoever said that out there, Puggan's not happy with it.
Broken clock.
Loads of you watching out there.
Twice a day.
That's right. He's factually right. That's what Barry used to
saying.
say on the show, wasn't it? Whenever you'd say, "Well done, Barry."
Depends how broken it is. If you rip the hands off, strictly.
There's
it's
always
broken.
one, isn't there? There's always a northern Danny Dyer to come up in your face.
Can I just say, like, this goes into the sayings that I dislike the most. Like it's a bit like when people say, the proof is in the pudding.
Oh,
that isn't just wrong, isn't it?
That is one of the most nonsensical sayings when you think of it literally.
The proof is in the pudding.
What proof?
The correct saying is, the proof of the pudding is in the eating.
Right.
That is the correct saying. But yet, the amount of times I hear people saying, "Oh, the proof is in the pudding," I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
We know you like it when we digress on this show, but I didn't think that I would start off the day, and this is the beauty of Racing Post Live, asking Graeme Rodway what exactly is the proof of a pudding.
Well, it's like the, when people say, well, it's just one bad apple, and the full phrase is spoils the bunch. So if you've got one bad apple, you're all spoiled. So they're like, oh, well, just one bad apple in this team. You're like, so we're all screwed. That's the point of the saying, is one bad apple ruins the whole barrel.
This is turning into a new show, isn't it?
Well, this is what we get. We educate
like
you about the
101,
great
isn't
game,
it?
but also the sayings of the great game as well.
Hello? Yes, BBC Radio 4. We'd be very interested. Sue Perkins has dropped out.
No Gary Lineker. Okay, right. Social Corner comes back up. Joshua Bell, welcome along, my friend, to this marvellous Tuesday. The most marvellous of Tuesdays? I think so. Who's finishing in top 3 in the next race? Yes, come on then. Let's get on to the Grey Bonnets, the Arkle. For the purists amongst this week, it's almost a bit of a come down, isn't it? Because this is the purist race, isn't it? Who, is going to be the 2 mile chases of the future. Of course, we've got the Queen Mother Champion Chase tomorrow. What an absolute belter that promises to be. And who's going to be lining up in that division next year as the top dog? Will it be El Fabiano, the Irish Arkle winner? Will it be John Bond, who, of course, saw dust behind Constitution Hill on this day last year and has pretty much done everything right, hasn't he? Wasn't convincing for everyone out there. Will it be the Hare, his old rival, Dysart Dynamo? Or perhaps Sanois, the county hurdle winner from a long time ago, who does somehow have a Grade 1 win over fences to his name? He could pick up the pieces, couldn't he? Let's find out what the panel think and go down them then. Now, Al Fabiano is in the lucky 15. The first leg of that went down. I'm not going to dwell on that one.
Well, I mean, I'm hoping Rodders was annoyed that we went with ours in the first. I'm hoping that
We went
we're
for the
annoyed
wrong
that
Irish
we're
horse.
Yeah.
I don't think Cheltenham's his place, by the way, that horse, Elite Tom, looking at that. I watched it again.
I mean,
is he a flat tracker?
He finished 5th and actually went past Dark Raven.
He's just not a great hurdler either,
Made
is
a
he?
couple of errors, yeah.
Because he's the most experienced in the race anyway.
I actually think he wants further.
Do you?
Yeah.
The problem is the hood then, isn't it? Because it's he's not settling well enough.
Facile Vega, to be fair, Facile Vega's probably run to the pound with him to the previous run when they ran at Leopardstown.
Who's disappointed with Facile Vega out there? That's the question I should be asking.
I thought he ran a cracker.
But is anyone disappointed? Because this was the next Constitution Hill for them out there. Loads of anti-post tips that look like they might be resurrected because of the stable confidence have ultimately been burnt.
But he was only. He was only that because.
Look, he showed his true colours today. He's bounced back.
Kvegas.
But is anyone still disappointed with that run?
No.
I'm curious.
You
I bet there are people out there.
Shouldn't be.
He's been beaten by. There were 4 Grade 1 winners in there, if you include the Tolworth, and he's been beaten by one of the only other ones. So, and he's turned the form around with the other horse who beat him in the previous Grade 1. So, you can't be disappointed.
Well, we can't be disappointed. The panel says.
Unless you backed him at 5 to 6.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. The people that took on Son were probably like, heap. All right, okay, let's go on.
We backed him each way at 6 to 1.
You're sort of happy, aren't you? All right, Andy Sim, our multiple man out there, says, John Bond starts my singles, doubles. How did I know, Andy? And trebles. What are the other legs? We'd like to know. Cillian Donahoe, welcome. Was it? No, Andy, hang on a minute. Cillian O'Donohoe.
Killian.
Dino Hugh. It's like,
Cillian,
I hope he's
Cillian?
backing Dino Blue with a name like that. Dino Hugh.
Killian?
Killian Murphy.
I think I said Killian. Did I say Cillian?
It is O'Donoghue. It's these guys outside.
O'Donoghue.
Intention control.
Sorry.
They're bitter that they put
Cillian
up
O'Donoghue,
a loser
yeah.
in the first. El Fab is a crazy fast horse, correct. Okay, what else have we got? And Devo, this is the one.
Oh.
John Gone. Wow. Now, Graeme Rodway, I'd like to start with you here, please. Give us the picture of the Arkle division, since you said John Bond was an absolute good thing when he made his chasing debut at Warwick.
I still think John Bond's very, very good, but I was disappointed with him at Warwick. I don't think you can really ignore the fact that he made very hard work of winning a match race against a horse who was rated vastly inferior to him. And let's be honest, John Bond's not a sort of horse that makes hard work of things. He usually just goes around breezes.
Well, I could pick you up on that.
I'd pick him up on that as well.
Why is that? You think he
Haydock
works hard?
last year?
Haydock, yeah.
when he came in?
Yeah, maybe you're right.
I know what you mean though. I think when it was very flashy at the start of the season, wasn't it?
Yeah, and he wasn't as good at Warwick, was he? And that just has led me to change my mind and go for I was going to call him El Diablo, El Fabiolo.
El Fabiolo.
Diablo.
El Fabiolo. What does El Fabiolo mean? El Fabulous. The Fabulous.
The Fabulous.
The Fabulous,
yeah, it must be,
maybe.
mustn't it?
But yeah, I got
Showing my
there's not a lot
my
between them,
linguistic
is they? They raced against each other at Aintree last season, and John Bond just got the better of
That's
them.
why I love this race this year, because they're
yeah.
back and having a go over fences. This is what the purists
I'll
want.
tell you
isn't
why I
it?
changed my mind. Is that last year I actually wrote some notes down when I was at.
Well done, mate.
They're still on my phone. I was at the festival and I was standing waiting for the next race to come along, and I
In
thought,
the pouring rain.
in the pouring rain, I thought, right, there's a few things that I've learned this week that I'm going to note down to remember for next year. And one of those is when Willie Mullins has the top-rated figure on my own Graeme Rodway's power rankings, they just win. And sure enough, El Fabiolo has the highest figure here, and it's trained by Willie Mullins, and I expect it will just win.
Now this is quite an interesting position, guys, because you were the first to go. If the race cuts up and it's odds on, I can understand that, and I just think he'll go on, and the Constitution he'll shine, shall we call it? I liken it to the Frankel shine on the flat. Whatever ran behind Frankel just went and won any other Group 1 in the universe. You know, whenever he wasn't
So is
around.
is he Acceleration? Which one's Acceleration?
He could
Which
be
one's Zoffany?
Well, this is Acceleration, isn't it? Oh, Zoffany, don't mention that. We're not allowed to mention
Which
that. It's
one's?
like,
Why not?
it's like Macbeth, isn't it? It's the one that nearly spoilt the party, wasn't it? Zoffany.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Anyway, the
Who else
poll.
is behind? Who else? What you've got? Your Galileo goals and that kind of. Was that no? Different. But there was loads in behind, wasn't there? Yeah.
If you get a form race up a Frankel, right, or Constitution Hill, you just press since, you'll see a lot of ones.
He beat about 10 Group 1 winners.
Yeah,
didn't he?
exactly. It was a class of outstanding peers, basically, if you can call them that. John Bond, 42%, then just edging El Fabiolo, unlike the market. Only a little bit of love there for Dysart Dynamo, and 10% think something like Strawfan Jack might win.
Yeah, he's the hipster selection, isn't he? Strawfan Jack from the previews. Everyone's been putting up at a big
Really?
price because of his course form, but would believe
Oh,
me.
he's the pseudo.
Talk of the
Trudy.
previews.
He is,
we like.
supposedly. The only thing I'd say, I was at Kempton when John Bond worked a couple of weeks ago, and it was very, very cold. And he got incredibly warm, but speaking to Aidan Coleman since, he would be concerned if he doesn't get warm, apparently. He thinks it's just something he does, and don't be put off if he gets very, very warm. But reportedly...
Strawfan Jack or John Bond?
John Bond,
Oh,
sorry.
right, okay.
Reportedly, he works like a drain at Kempton on that day, but they've been more happy with him since.
But you
that
can't,
old
if you start to
chestnut.
listen to them.
Exactly. But no,
I can't wait for
he wasn't fully fit at Warwick, was he? I don't think.
And
No.
now this is bad for this show
No.
because we can't actually show the replay. But
Look, Link Bashimi, beautiful name.
oh yeah, Steve's son.
Welcome along, Steve. Strawfan Jack, got any chance at all? Do you want to just answer that quickly?
I'm going on really the hipster previews. A few people think because he's got that course and distance form, he might
of course
be
we've
one
got
that,
hipster previews now.
that stays on.
Of course Danny Archer goes to them.
They do in previews
No,
in
they're
urban
just
outfitters
on
now.
Twitter. I've seen a few Shrudies put him up.
Only
he
in
stays a
Great
bit
Dunmow
further.
and Shoreditch.
Wouldn't be for me.
Yeah, you've got to go to the middle of Camden Market to catch, sort of Jamie Lynch and the rest of them.
Yeah,
doing
that's
the
what I
hipster
mean. Yeah.
preview.
You get a pour over coffee.
you do.
And a preview.
DJ will probably be there.
And if you don't wear carrot trousers, you're banned.
Absolutely.
But anyway,
He'd win a grand annual. So this just to go back to John Bond, this is the terrible for this. But I know you said he was disappointed at Warwick, but the key thing for this, I think, right, is the speedometer at the bottom here. So when John Bond gets disappointed and a bit out of his comfort zone is when Calico goes right, bang, it kicks on here. It goes from 29 to 34 up to this fence. John Bond goes,
You're
what
watching
the
the
hell?
match race that John Bond was expected to come through at odds
Yeah.
of about 1 to 80.
And then here again, speeds right up at this fence. Calico bounds into that fence and John Bond goes, what the hell has gone on here? This was a 2-runner race. I thought I added it in my reckoning. Calico goes on again, 34 miles an hour going into that fence.
Just to let you know, Ross is on his members club watching a replay if you're wondering what on earth he's doing. Just to remind you, you can like and subscribe on this comment. That's what it's all about. If you want to get the best horse racing content for free coming your way, not just this week, but for the rest of the year, that's what you do. Hit the like and subscribe button.
But that's not.
And look at this, 36, 37. Calico absolutely bursts at John Bond as they come around that bend at Warwick. He comes all the way around the outside. At the hottest part of the race, he has to take over from Calico. And then as he approaches this fence in the home straight, I think he's used so much energy to get there, he's just a little bit tired. And I think there's a perfectly reasonable reason.
Can I make a point? That is Calico.
Well, he came out and won next time, actually, Calico
That is
did.
not El Fabiolo.
No, of course.
No, but what I'm saying is, if they do that, Warwick is a fantastic prep.
Yes,
for
it is.
Cheltenham. It is a
And the
fantastic
Kingmaker
prep.
in itself is a great race for this.
If that happens here, I could see it happening here as Dysart Dynamo kicks on. I think John Bond, he's done it. He's just experienced it there at Warwick. I actually think, like we were saying about Marine Nationale, no matter how you win, if you manage to
You're keeping
win,
the faith, Roscoe, I can tell this.
Horses who win, if they win ugly but they still keep winning, I don't think you can crab them too much.
They're small worries, but for me, the El Fabiolo, first one, he had to be cherry ripe for that Irish Arkle. Best form in the book. You can say John Bond, he hasn't had to be fully fit to win a Warwick at Sandal.
I could pick you up on that, Danny.
Well, we'll come back to that.
There was a certain appreciated
And,
that was expected to go and take that out, wasn't there?
Does he actually like 2 miles, or is
Well,
he?
that's not the point, Dan.
further?
But that day, Team Mullins were all team appreciated, weren't
And I think El Fabiolo can put the odd error in. So, that's
Well, of
people
course,
crubbed his jumping
I
more than
think
John Bond's.
One thing, G-Rod, we can't argue about at the moment, the better jumper, the more flawless jumper has been John Bond.
Yeah.
Now, Paul Keeley's been banging the drum on the previews, about 2,000 of them, saying with unequivocally the best jumper is Dysart Dynamo in the race. Now, when Dysart Dynamo won that beginner's chase, late to the party, if you like, in this division, at Christmas, he looked absolutely fabulous.
It doesn't matter because he's a nutcase.
He's an absolute nutcase.
It don't matter how well you jump if you can't.
Describe what's happening on the way to the post for people that can't see.
He's pulling his head and reefing around.
Well, Fabiolo's
a bit keen, isn't he?
Dynamo, El Fabiolo's just behind him. He's fairly keen. Luckily for them both, they've what's that horse that's leading them down? There's 2 horses. Effenock Fizz was one of them, and another one.
She's a likely pace
right
angler. She can go with him.
To be fair, if you had to go on the preliminaries, John Bond looks absolute picture. He looks beautiful, and he's gone down beautifully, nice and relaxed. El Fabiolo just ready to go. Dysart Dynamo absolutely nuts.
So what's this, the Arkle?
I think, this is what happened in the Supreme, wasn't it? He went too crazy, and John Bond is, of course, his old rival. John Bond sort of spoilt the Dysart. Dysart Dynamo went off levels fav, with joint favs with Constitution Hill last year. So the esteem they held him in. But he's a complete nutcase. But, of course, this is a sharper test, despite the hill. Distance-wise, than at Leopardstown. That's why Kills thinks he can get them at it.
He might, and this 2 mile chase track does suit front runners at Cheltenham. It really does.
Let's get the social up here. The mighty
But
Gomez comes back
surely
on
the new more than the old.
Hollow Games will finish in front of John Bond, says mighty Gomez. Blimey. Now, he's had an interrupted prep, Gomez. Has Gordon Elliott's runner here.
He's had wind surgery, hasn't he, as well?
I think they tried to get him into a handicap, didn't they? And they just missed out the chance. It's got a bit of American Mike about it, this, isn't it? It's the same colours, of course, second to Facile Vega. They ran out of time with him.
Someone said at the social corner of Tricast, I'll have John Bond, El Fabiolo, and Saint War can pick up the pieces in third.
Okay, well, look, okay, fine.
Hard agree.
Look, we're going to be treated to an absolute spectacle here. We've got the callers in the studio. We need... You all right?
Yeah,
we need
the
forecast. We're going to do a forecast.
We're going to do something here.
We're going to do a forecast, okay, for the Injured Jockeys Fund.
Let me wake the iPad up. And
when you're ready, you come to me because it's John Bond and El Fab, right? One thing we're not surprised about, guys out there, are we? Is that the weight of money on the exchange is now coming hard for El Fabiolo because of what happened in the Supreme.
What do you want to do?
Forecast. How are we going to play the forecast? Because this is a 50-50 split here.
Yeah, I don't know how we're going to play the forecast.
I think we go G-Rod because we got to do a
give him the honours, shall we?
Yeah.
Or here's, this is why
Roscoe's here.
We do 2 straight tricasts. We do John Bond, El Fab Samoir, and we do El Fab John Bond Samoir.
You on that?
Do you know what I mean?
We do El Fab John Bond Samoir.
Samoir, of course, is the pick of Tom Siegel out there today for the price-wise of legion of followers out there. He thinks that this race will be set up
2 straight
closer.
Yeah, that's that.
Yeah, because if we're 50-50
you like
on the
that,
winner,
G-Rod. You can tell when he pitches up like that, it means he's happy with what you said.
a couple of other bits and bobs that I dug into, by the way. El Fabiolo, 3 horses, 6-year-olds rated 160 plus have run in the Arkle. They've all won.
Bosch.
Footpad, Duvan and Sprinter Sacra,
Yeah.
but they all were more experienced. John Bon, 5 horses of his profile, 7 years old, 159 rated, 3 runs over fences. Shishkin, Altior and Undeso won. God's Own Place, who was 33 to 1. Alpha Off was beaten. So what I like is you've kind of got in a way, you've got the Duvan footpad of El Fabiolo versus the Shishkin Altior of John Bond. That's what this race isn't just for this year. It's almost like a historical photocopy of plenty of Arkles.
I would suggest that of the biblical trends races, this is one of them. Like I said, the purest race, okay? And if you're reading in your members club or your newspaper today, the excellent Kevin Morley, he put up Il Était Tomp, very difficult to say that, I know, in the first, but he said that, Marine National Best of the West and Facile Vega not too far off as well. Here he's gone for John Bon, actually, over El Fab, Dysart and Saint-Ouen. Right, they're lining up. How do they look, G. Rog? I can see you've been very intently studying this.
Looks like Dysart Dynamo's going to hair off like a nutcase in front like he always does. John Bond's right alongside him. And I don't think that Paul Town is going to want to give them too much rope. He's tucked in just behind Dysart Dynamo and John Bond as they line up.
Ram Sathar in the chat says, do you all hate Dysart Dynamo? Why are you not talking about it? Mary Ryan says, come on, Dysart. Look, we've got nothing but love for Dysart.
I don't think we hate him. We love him.
No,
He's just a lovable nutcase.
This is the week, guys. I say it every year, where all the horses that you'd normally have posters on your wall, you've got to put them down because you've got to take them on, all right? This is what it's all about. We've got to pick one. For us here, we're expecting it to be the matchup that the market suggests. El Fabiolo for myself and Graeme Rodway, who took out the first with Marine Nationale. However, my two race callers next to me, they're probably just studying exactly which fence they're going to start calling as we go off with the John Bon.
After you.
No, Dan, honestly, you did such a good job. I want to.
Dysart Dynamo bombs into an early lead by 2 lengths as they approach the first. In second is John Bon. El Fabiolo, a mistake at the first.
Really?
Little one.
Hang on a minute.
Little one.
It's like Charlie Post is commentating. He likes to get me wound up early.
He steadied into
Ephinoc Fizz in fourth, Strawfan Jack in fifth as they come to the next. The first 3 market principals all jump that one well. Gap back to Ballybreeze, Hardor, Saint-Ouen, and at the back of the field, Hollow Game. So as expected, Dysart Dynamo is not going off lickety-split.
I remember Matty Batch said something on this show a couple of weeks ago. He said, what I liked about El Fabiolo at Leopardstown, although he thought John Bon was the one, is the way he recovered from those mistakes, okay? So he won by 10 lengths despite walking through a couple of fences. Can you do that in the Arkle? We're about to find out. They're going past the stands then.
The fact is he was able to recover from those mistakes because Dysart had shot his bolt and Banbridge was so far behind that he didn't get going until it was too late.
Strawfan Jack left his legs in that one.
The hipsters aren't happy.
The hipsters are cursing going to Camden Town for their preview.
You can't be a hipster and be happy though.
Now this is interesting, G-Rod, isn't it? Because they're alive to the fact that Dysart has torn off in front, but John Bond doing what he did last year, keeping on his coattails, not pressuring him yet, but El Fabiolo also keen not to let the hair get too far in front.
I think John Bond's definitely looked the safer jumper of the big two here. I think El Fabiolo's kind of fiddled his way over the first 3 or 4 fences. John Bond, in his usual lovely rhythm that he gets into, long stride, and he's jumping beautifully. Dysart Dynamo's well clear at the moment, though, as you expected, 5 or 6 lengths.
Hollow Games, by the way, is about 40 lengths off him. He can't go a yard at the moment. John Bond not great there.
No, Dysart Dynamo is winging the match, to be fair.
It's such a good jumping performance. The thing is, he went, again, when issue with Warwick, it's about when you press the button, isn't it? Now, he slowed it down. He's just gone through a gear. Hind legs there for El Fabiolo. Remember, this is a race that gets won by horses who've been to Cheltenham. El Fabiolo, this is his first visit to the track.
And I'll tell you the interesting thing is, she's a Welsh champion hurdle winner at Ephinoc Fizz. She lined up with the 3 that are going on with it. She cannot go the gallop at all. We are in serious top-level stuff here. This is beautiful.
This is what you want to see. The top 3 in the betting all coming to the fore. The others can't keep up. John Bond slightly slow into that, along with El Fabiolo. Dysart Dynamo's got them all at it.
Flying, isn't he, Dysart Dynamo?
Yeah, he's into about 4-1 Dysart. No shorter than that on the exchange at the moment.
El
Danny
Fabiolo
Mullins
moving alongside John Bond now.
Saint-Ouen probably the one from the back who's trying to creep into it, but at the moment it's still Dysart Dynamo out in front by 3 lengths. Comes the next, winged it. John Bond again a bit scruffy. El Fabiolo sketchy. Bad mistake from Ephinoc Fizz.
Saint-Ouen is on the move, guys. Saint-Ouen is on the move.
Dysart Dynamo, at the moment he's in dreamland. John Bond in second. El Fabiolo third. Saint-Ouen is the one who's trying to creep into it. So it looks to be between these 4. It's Henderson versus Mullins.
In the Supreme last year, Dysart Dynamo fell, but despite how fast he went, he was still in the placings at that time, which was fairly remarkable.
This could be a big fence. 35 miles an hour. This could be a big fence.
We're getting excited now, people.
El Fabiolo on the rail. John Bond on the outside. Dysart Dynamo at the moment still in front. Danny Mullins, another good leap. John Bond was better there. El Fabiolo in third. Little shake of the rein from Townend. Saint-Ouen in fourth, and the others are all playing for minor money, you feel.
He's got him at it, hasn't he?
John Bond now calm and gets to work.
I think John Bond will get him. I'm not sure about El Fabiolo. He still hasn't gone from Townend. I'll tell you what.
Saint-Ouen is staying on as well. These four, it's between these four.
Wow, Holador in
Here we
fifth
go.
at the moment. Look at El Fabiolo.
Dysart Dynamo. Now El Fabiolo on the rail. John Bond. Coleman now says, come on, and they go on. John Bond and El Fabiolo. El Fabiolo ridden cold. He comes into it. 3 in a line. El Fabiolo goes past John Bond twice the rally. But El Fabiolo, Townend has barely moved. Comes around. He's made a barely run. He's through. Dynamo falls, but El Fabiolo sitting off John Bond. Sam Ross staying on for third. He won the Irish Arkle. He's going to back up in the Arkle. He is the real deal. El Fabiolo, Mullins, Townend win the Arkle. John Bond second, Sun Ra in third.
Oh, poor Dysart Dynamo, second year running. Wow, what was the Brian Allison horse that kept falling in the champion chase? The one that kept going at the same fence every year round. He's become that. He didn't deserve that, did he?
I do remember Redemption used to do that, but that wasn't Brian Ellison, was it? But
look, that was absolutely superb. We'll keep our eyes on Dysart Dynamo. We get excited here in the studio because we're all on these. We've been tipping them up to you. El Fabiolo, isn't he just that? Gets his revenge on John Bond for that head defeat at Aintree. The old rivals coming back. If that is isn't a champion chaser in the making, I will eat my hat. That was absolutely superb. For my money, I'm going to lay it out there now. John Bond did everything right. He just wants a bit of a trip now. He remains a very, very good horse. But again, like Dysart Dynamo, falling at the last. You couldn't make it up. John Bond's found one too good again. Great call, Danny, again.
Beautiful call. Tricast landed.
Yeah, we've got the Tricast.
Tricast landed!
Tricast landed.
Yeah.
There we go.
Like I said, he's got an engine, hasn't he, Ross?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Do you know? But I know you said John Bond didn't do anything wrong, and I don't think he did. However, I think we need to praise Paul Town in there because.
Cool, wasn't it?
Well, I thought he just timed it to perfection. Aidan Coleman was almost too keen. I think he thought, I don't want to let Dysart go too soon. Whereas Paul Townend thought, I mean, you've seen him countless times.
But going
at
up
home.
the inner there as well, you don't really see that in an Arkle, do you? It almost looked like he was going to be shut for room at one point. Danny Mullins, I hope they're all right.
I don't think that he's the most fluent at jumpers, El Fabiolo, actually. And I thought that
It was a heavy fall we're hearing, guys.
Yeah, it was heavy. Well, I thought that Townend was very good on him because he just kind of schooled him round there. He was quiet. He didn't ask him for any big ones. I think he knew he had the horse underneath him. And yeah, you don't see horses go to the inside very often, only if they've got a lot of petrol in the tank. And he had loads left, didn't he?
Oh, yeah. I mean, and that despite the fact he's not a natural chaser yet.
I mean, it's only his third run over fences.
Yeah,
it's absolutely insane.
So basically, he made his comeback over fences and he beat trees very easily, but he still wasn't totally flawless over his fences. He then went to the Dublin Racing Festival, slammed Banbridge. A lot of love will be coming for him now on Thursday in the Turners after a great trial from the second there. Appreciate it. That race now looking hot. Unsurprisingly, 2 races down, 2 winners to come from the Dublin Racing Festival in February. The breeding ground that is that meeting. Once again coming to the fore. He was a bit sticky. 3 out, he wasn't great.
No, that's nonsense, isn't it?
Marine National didn't run at the Dublin Racing.
I was thinking of Fassal Baker. I was like, okay.
Anyway, we'll let you off. Are we happy about that, Dave? Though that's 2 from 2 for me. Of course, not that I made it onto the front page today. I'm not bitter about it at all.
Same was when an absolute cracker.
What you don't know is that there's a lovely photo of you on page 3.
Probably more than I got. All right, loads of you watching out there, which is absolutely fantastic.
Can we just say, I don't think, looking at the chat, I'm not sure he's okay. But
yeah, there's a lot of people that worry about Dysart Dynamo out there, and they've gone off the replay now that we're watching as well, which doesn't suggest it's good. Fingers crossed for Dysart Dynamo and Danny Mullins as well. At the final fence fall, he fell at the last in the Supreme. He jumped absolutely rosy until then. It was obviously a tired fall as the 2 horses attacked him on either side. And a big win for Simon Monier and Isaac Swade, who put so much into the game. Of course, they've got horses all over the place. There was a great line from Nicky Henderson, wasn't there, saying they're great owners of mine. And I usually cheer on their horses from afar. They obviously think this is a bit of a beast. Let us know what you think.
I know. I'll tell you what I've noticed is that when it comes to Cheltenham, their stable jockey Daryl Jacob, he don't seem to get a look in. Paul Townend gets all the big rides.
Well, that is a bit. Well, he rode. Look, let's answer this one. He rode that El Fabiolo at the festival because Paul had elected to ride. Appreciate it. There is an agreement at Mullins that Paul rides, despite what the horse colours might be. I think it's maybe even JP McManus has to give way every now and then. But Mark Walsh is, of course, his top rider.
I don't think McManus gives away too often, but certainly tomorrow, of course, Impero Pass is one of the most exciting horses to line up on the whole week, and Paul Townend to be riding that. Could be a double for Simon Munir and Isaac Swade, who I literally could not tell you what they look like, but they are two of the most recognisable names that you see in racing.
Bruce Millington's on tomorrow. He can tell us because I think they're Arsenal fans. And
Are they?
Yeah, and he met them on a Palace Arsenal game.
Brilliant.
Spoke very well of them, actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
They could also, of course, win the Ryanair, so they could have
Blue Lord.
They could have an Arkle Ballymore Ryanair
Champion bumper.
champion bumper. Yeah, he's got 2 in that as well.
Dublin Racing
Hunter's Yarn in the counter.
Not quite the exalted position that I gave it, but we're expecting that to be the breeding ground of winners. And through the week, we're just all fingers crossed at the moment. Of course, for Dysart Dynamo took that very tired fall at the last.
Everything else is irrelevant, isn't it? In when you really get down to it, everything else is irrelevant. I don't care who wins. I don't care what happens. It's 100%. I don't care if I didn't have a single winning bet and you did your
Dysart Dynamo.
Hey! Marvellous. Dag, brave boy, look at him. Wonderful. Absolutely up on his feet and
late,
looking a bit bonny. And the lass is, you can tell she's absolutely thrilled. Oh, look, that's marvellous that she's crying, isn't she? That's absolutely fantastic.
By the way,
That is the result of the day so far. He certainly didn't deserve that. He jumped by far the best, didn't he, up until that?
I was just going to say, the Dam I remember reading a story about the Dam who had a very similar way of going about it things. And
Dysart.
Yeah, Dysart's Dam had a
Dysart Dancer, she was called.
She had a career-ending injury. She pulled up, and they thought it was touch and go whether she would make it through. And then when she did, and then produced essentially 2 black-type performers, it was an incredible result for them. So.
Yes, because Dysart Diamond was the other one who was a 140 horse, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So look, we're 2 down. 50% off your members club, and let's get an advert for you. The first of the week coming up. Great to be with you guys this afternoon with 2 races down here on Racing Post Live. Myself, Dave Orton, Danny Archer, calling the races superbly so far. When will his voice give way? Ross Brierley will be there just in case it does. We've got the first handicap coming up and a rather chipper Graeme Rodway, who, a reminder, if you're at the track tomorrow, you can take your pies, a custard variety, and throw them at him if you find him somewhere. Don't hit his dad, though, for goodness sake.
I do think we need an update on the scores for the day, probably.
I'm coming in to play again here. Let's have. Can we? There you can see the best odds guaranteed market at the moment for the Ultima, the first handicap of many this week coming your way. A gruelling race over the 3 miles, extended over the fences. We'll get you time of the Arkle as well coming up. Correct Rambler, last year's winner, being pressured for that position. I mean, I've got some great stats about this race. The Goffer and Fast or Slow, and Monbeg Genius putting some pressure on him as well. Nassalam into overdrive, the 111 horse coming into it. Oscar Elite last year's 3rd. Fantastic Cast ran well in the race. What a race it is. And Chris says, Correct Rambler wins. I buy Ross another lovely shirt.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. Thanks, Chris. I appreciate that.
Has he bought you a shirt already then?
No, there's 2 things that get an incredible amount of comments when I'm doing the note. One is it's like the Queen. It's what shirt's Ross going to wear.
Right.
And for a while it was haircuts as well. My favourite was someone came on and called me what was it now? What's the walnut whiphead? That's what they called me after a haircut. I enjoyed that particularly. Walnut
Should have seen
whiphead.
lockdown. Is this where it started from? Because
Yeah,
that was remarkable, wasn't it? I mean, the two of you. Well, I know what you were like, Arch, but these two were. I had a sort of like Secret Service, thing going on.
Yeah.
I made friends with I drew a face on a volleyball. Exactly. That's how unkempt
You
I
saw
got.
more of me than you did your immediate family, I think, through that, didn't you?
I did, and actually, I love you, family, but preferable.
Yeah, he's hardly been on a show since then. Until now.
That's it.
So well it went.
My
Look, we're having
family
great
said,
fun
"Look,
in
you need to
here.
see
The
us."
boys are back in town. Show us some love out there by liking and subscribing. Hopefully you enjoy those adverts as well. Can we get a mission control update of the Cup? That's what we want.
That's definitely what we need.
We're playing for the
Definitely.
Cup, and its rightful home is definitely with the Grey Bear at the moment. You're back with us on Friday, G, I should say, aren't you?
Yeah, my aim for the week is to beat everyone every day that I'm in, and it's going quite well, isn't it? So,
It's going better than it is for Mission Control, who insisted that they come in on this for the week to give them a bit of fun. There's three of them out there. Nil point.
well, we know why they're in Mission Control and we're out here, don't we, Dave?
I don't know. How long you got?
Can I just say that does anyone not think that Korat Rambler will almost certainly need this run, or am I getting this wrong? Now, I mean, he runs all of his best races off for shorter breaks than this.
Yeah.
He will definitely be being aimed at the Grand National.
That's his
That is
FA Cup final
That's his
this year,
FA
yeah.
Cup final.
Yeah.
I just don't see any scenario where Lucinda Russell will say, right, we'll have him absolute 100% for Cheltenham. And if he ain't 100%, he ain't going to win. Now, I'm not saying he ain't going to win. I'm just questioning whether this is going to be his day. Is this his FA Cup final? I'm not sure it is.
He is on my shortlist again.
She's
for this
flying.
race.
Actually, by the way, the trainer, Lucinda Russell, is absolutely flying.
It's just pressing a button to make sure he's not talking gibberish there.
She's had some like six
yeah,
or seven
she is,
winners.
isn't she?
out of the last
Absolutely.
10.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of ones next to her trainer's name here, but Ben
But
Pauling seems to be
I
with her as
could
well.
not have Korat Rambler on my mind at 11-2, knowing that the Grand National is coming up in a few weeks and he's had a long break. I just can't believe they're going to have him bang on for it. They might, I just can't believe they will.
Well, you've definitely, you're a bit like the aforementioned, Buena Vista, who won a load of Pertemps finals, like Holywell, who seemed to turn up. Danny's hoping that First or Slow will be in that festival form.
On Tom Portu, yeah.
On
Another
Tom
one.
Portu, great shout. But was he back-to-back Ultimas?
He was, yeah.
Yeah, so Korat Rambler is bidding to become the great pipe horse.
And was it the
yesteryear.
king? Was it Ben Salem used to come back?
Ben
as
Salem,
regularly every year?
yeah. He was the horse
probably
that
should
broke
have
the
won
trends
too.
for this race.
Should have
Ben
won too,
Salem,
yeah.
'Cause he
150 and above, basically. There are how many horses have we got over 150? It's a classy race. 150, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 up there. And in fact, two of you are tipping in that variety as well. We've got to put another job. What did it pay, by the way?
The Tricast paid £12. 87, and we had it for £10. So
Lovely.
a nice £110 profit for the charity.
That's great. Now you'll have to keep this up for Mission Control because that's the sort of thing they might struggle with out there. All right, so you can do the math. How much did we put on Ilete Tomp?
We had 20 on Iwate Tom,
So there
sadly.
you go. You can do the maths out there. But at the moment, we're playing for all week. Really, what we're doing is we're playing for a juicy prize for the Injured Jockeys Fund.
We're about 9. Well, that's 30. So we lost 10 on the other TriCast, 20 on it. So that's we're about
90 quid up.
80. Yeah, about 90
80,
quid up.
90?
87. Yeah. something like
We can round it up this week as well.
that. Let's say 90. Yeah.
Yeah. Commercial.
If we'd
and
listened to
financing.
G-Rod, we'd be on
Nelson.
a very nice lucky 15, wouldn't we, so far?
Yeah.
Marine and El Fab. Sorry, G-Rod. Sorry.
What can I do?
This isn't the reckoning.
You should have seen in the
This
week
is the
that we were
Rodway.
in.
Yeah, it is.
It was me, you, and Matty Batch, and we got our three legs up, and we opened it up to the public, and they put something on a 7-1 shot in a handicap for Gordon Elliott at Razorville.
That's right.
Didn't
Yeah.
raise its leg.
I think that's the first time that all the panellists have had their net win, actually.
Yeah, and we didn't take anything home for it.
But there you go.
Which is absolutely sod's law, isn't it? Now, the one interesting thing here is that not even Willie Mullins has bothered to try and win this prize. He knows that the Irish historically do not win the Ultima Handicap. This is the one he must have candidates at home, but Chris Cook in his front runner, all your members clubs out there that got that. He's not got a runner in it. Mullins' record over fencing handicaps, Ross, is appalling here, isn't it?
Well, he knows what he's dealing with, and a lot of the time, slightly different this year, the Ultimate, but a lot of the time, the British novices, the genuine graded British novices go, well, we know we're not going to win the actual novice chasers. So they send their graded novices into handicaps and exploit those marks. And I think the one big thing that the slight problem with Irish trainers have is that the Cheltenham handicaps, particularly over fences, regularly, time after time, go to horses who've been round here and season long, from the start, from October pretty much all the way through to the spring. There's a really good race every single month that you can come and test your mettle round Cheltenham, and you can go, okay, we know what we have to do to win
it's
this
become
next time.
It's become the old school route back into this race, isn't it? You can do trials at this course throughout the season,
and you kind of have other places have qualifiers, stay at Haydock and your London Mile, that kind of thing. And it's not official, but you do get the feeling that
London Mile.
But you get throughout the season, like a London Mile qualifier.
I know what you mean, yeah.
This is the finale.
The series.
This is the finale of the series.
Yes.
Throughout this one and of course the plate are your two finales of the series throughout the winter at Cheltenham, and that's why I think the Irish trainers don't necessarily get involved. However, they've learned with your selection because he has.
Yeah, well, my two darts, fast or slow, and I think
at
Nassalam for Gary Moore's got a right shout. But fast or slow first off. He couldn't run in some races because he won as a 3-year-old in France, so he never got a novice season because of that. So they had to pitch him in, I think, to a John Durkan and another big Grade 1 event.
Yeah.
He had no chance in either of those. But if you look back at his festival form, second in a Coral Cup last year, and I think the big help to him last year was the application of a tongue tie. Looks like he might have it on here again.
He has.
And I think the Spider Marker 150, I think he was 147. British Handicap has raised him £3. I think he should go well. And building on Ross's point, Nassalam has run in those big handicaps this year over shorter trips. But he looks like he's crying out for it. It looked like on New Year's Day he wanted the step up in trip. So he's the other dart. But for me, I'm hoping it's a Martin Brassil special here.
Well, he can certainly produce them, of course, and I'm a big fan of the trainer. I'm a big fan. I love the Sholmar Ryan colours as well. He used to have some absolutely wonderful. City Island, of course, broke champ, didn't he?
Yeah.
Just horses for the big day. JJ Slevin and
Longhouse
jockey for the big
Poet
day as well.
in the
Longhouse Poet.
Wins the National.
Thyestes.
Yeah, oh, of course, yeah, the National last
I think he's going to win the National this year, Longhouse Poet.
And it was one of the word filthy has been used by our community quite a lot about types. I just, Wild Gentleman to me was running away with the Dublin chase over 2 miles and breaking Blue Lord. My eyes were out the back at fast or slow looking, what is he doing in this race? And it was a very nice prep, let's put it that way, for this. I'm not sure I saw him stretching out this far though, Danny.
I fancied him big time for the plate. That's the only concern. I feel like I'm surprised they've ended up going here. I thought the plate he would have had a right shout, but the fact they've ended up still deciding to go
Do you
here, they
reckon
must
Emmett Mullins
think.
had a word over a preview and gone, don't bother turning up in that, lads, I've got it?
Do you like that so Scottish?
I'm not saying I do. I asked you the question.
I don't think
You
he's.
answered my- you
I don't think
answered
he's
the
as
question.
bomb-proof as a lot of people think. I think he's worth taking on in that.
Well, he's very skinny, isn't he, for that, basically? But there's a hot pot in that.
I
So
would
fast,
say-
so he's on my radar as well.
Longhouse Poet, though, mentioning him, he stepped up from a 2 mile 3 at Naas to beat Run Wild Fred over 3 mile 1, dropped back down to 2 mile 3 at Limerick, and then stepped up to 3 mile 1 to win the Thyestes. So actually, maybe it's a Mike de Kock approach, isn't it? Get them absolutely primed over shore to run their absolute face off, step them up in trip, and they'll think, you know what, God, this is easier than
We've had the
chasing.
London Mile, Mike de Kock, within like a couple of minutes.
Someone's looking forward to the flat, aren't they?
Yeah, it's
Look,
nearly
I don't
Lincoln time. Can I give you some quotes before we go on and give you our tips of the Ultima? We want to hear yours as well. Keep them coming in. A reminder of the free bets keeps flashing up there. Let's hope you're taking advantage of them on this week of weeks. Michael O'Sullivan, jockey of Marine Nationale. Well, I followed Facile Vega. He jumped and travelled very well. I was a bit wider than I wanted, but with his lack of experience, that was no bad thing. That's perhaps him alluding to the fact he was a little bit keen, I think, wasn't it? I was always happy. He hasn't got a lot of experience. He's a very good jumper. He's very clever with his feet. He didn't put a foot wrong. I think over 2 miles, the better the ground, the better he'd be. So that was the vibes coming in about the rain they were worried about a little bit. He then goes on to talk about himself a little bit, but they are hinting at, well, strongly hinting at the fact that it will be indeed fences for the Supreme winner next time around. We might not be seeing him in a champion hurdle then. Okay,
Jumps
moving
a bit
on.
like that, I thought. Jumps a bit like a chaser. He's not really a natural hurdler, I don't think.
No.
Yeah.
Still buzzing off that performance?
Still buzzing after El Fabiolo, yeah. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the next.
Well, let's get a couple of social selections up before we give G-Rod the floor, because he's on a hat-trick, would you believe it? And I'll tell you a very, very good link here from one grizzly bear to another. Fantastical. The horse told me he's going to win. Is this in a dream, grizzly bear? Well, this is Fantasticas, I believe he means.
This goes back to something that I say sometimes when you listen to Willie Mullins. It's almost like you listen to him in an interview, and it's almost like he's spoken to his horse, and his horse has fed back to him something, and then he feeds that back to you. So there was the time, of course, when the energumene was beaten. Willie Mullins came out afterwards and said that the white fences were clearly a problem. Yeah. So he'd obviously had a word with the horse, and energumene had told him that he couldn't see properly. Then the other day I watched him talking about Sharjah. You know the horse Sharjah?
Yes.
And Willie Mullins said, now he really likes the way they configure the track here in December at Leopardstown, but he doesn't like the configuration quite so much in February when they run the Irish Champion
Because
Hurdle.
Sharjah told him this.
And again, obviously, Sharjah must have told him that, because otherwise, how on earth would he possibly know that?
Well,
You think he's a horse whisperer?
Grizzly Bear is obviously a horse whisperer.
He's obviously in the
too.
Twist and Davis stable, and Fantasticas. He's an interesting horse, Fantasticas, isn't he? Should we give this a bit of love before we go to the pro gamer who also says hungry like the wolf? I tell you what, my appetite for that project is gone, gamer. Let me tell you about the wolf. The moment I'm waiting for him to. He's got a big ear in him now, hasn't he? Because I've jumped off him. He's an infuriating horse. Fantasticas has not been as fantastic this season as he was last season, but he's got himself down to a workable mark. Cheap pieces go on. He's number 21 in the list, and he has formed from this race last year, right?
I can see this. I can see this because his two best runs are both at Cheltenham. One of them, I think, was in the Dipper behind Lompresse last year, which is obviously very good form.
Yes, his third.
He stays 3 mile, 1 furlong. Twist and Davis, I think, will certainly have had this race in mind for the horse all season. He's well handicapped, and Twist and Davis, although he hasn't had loads of winners in the last sort of 10 days or so, he's had loads of seconds and thirds. He's absolutely flying along. I can see this.
He is.
But I haven't tipped it, but I can see
He's a
it.
stone lower than he was this time last year.
Yeah, I can
and he was
see it.
7th, but he didn't quite get home.
He's also got what used to be, let me just double check the actual number, but what used to be a proper Ultima.
Ratings band.
No. It's the, in fact, well, let me tell you, first time headgear in this race used to be an absolute
Belter.
Until last year, it used to be you'd get some well handicapped, quirky stayer, you'd pop some headgear on him and they'd go, here we go. 9 of the last 11 winners wore some sort of headgear. Correct Ramble didn't, but there's been loads of them.
Tom Portu was one of them, wasn't he?
Well, I'll have a quick click
If you want to
through.
delve through, because Happy Go Lucky is
Vintage Clouds
bit
is
of a
first
talking
time
horse, it is
cheap
now.
pieces.
Yeah.
Conditional had pieces on, but it wasn't first time. Beware the Bear had blinkers on. Q-Star Civiler didn't. Untempor 2, yeah, he wore tongue time blinkers the second time and the first time. The Druid's Nephew had pieces on as well.
So look for the 1 next to a P or a T or a B or a...
Doesn't necessarily have to be first time, but definitely those who maybe need a little bit of help to concentrate for some reason. Enjoy the Ultima, because I guess this is the thing. What probably wins this kind of race is a horse who's genuinely talented, but there's something stopping them progressing past this level. Hence, you put headgear on them because they're a bit quirky, but they've got that raw ability, and the headgear just brings it all together. So, and he's also £10 below.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about that on the circuit coming in about how horses have been given a right old chance, and he's one of them. Fantasticas last time out. Maybe he wasn't the Fantasticas that we saw at his best last season. He's been revved up for today, but I was a bit disappointed with him last time out.
He's definitely been revved up.
Chris Atkinson. Now. Mission Control showing their worth here because it's been going well for the naps at the Racing Post. Robbie Wilder's nap went in, so the pressure's off. Wilder's, he joins the show tomorrow. The postman does. And El Fabiolo was his nap. Kate Tracy's nap, Marine Nationale. And Bruce Millington's nap of the week is this bad boy. The big breakaway
Another
nap of the day.
nutcase.
Complete nutcase is basically what Ross is talking about.
Yeah, complete nutcase. Loads of talent, but he'll do the very best to throw it away before he wins.
Second in a Welsh National and second in a trial for that, basically, so far. He's shown his true colours, I would wager. He was a very promising novice hurdler, and it all went wrong after the Ballymore, do you remember? where even though he might have finished third or something like that, he was beating a distance, wasn't he? I think?
Finished fourth behind Emboy Allen.
Boy Allen, that's it.
But
And he
that
looked
race-
very quirky over fences after that.
That race broke quite a few horses, I think, didn't it? But he's run 4 times in Grade 1 companies, finished second, third, fourth, and pulled up behind Chantry House. So
Mission Control are telling me it's nap of the day for Bruce, not nap of the week. But of course, if this goes in, he will be claiming it, they're saying. And of course, so listen, good luck with that, Chris, out there. The Tizzards have got my horse in here, so I've got the stablemate of yours, Oscar Elite, who was third last year, went a novice and went literally via Bristol and came back. He went so wide. He's had a couple of breathing issues, and it looked like he'd sort of lost the plot a bit through this season, didn't it? Then they went to the Reynoldstown, which is usually a trail over the Brown Advisory, so he could be running in the Grade 1 tomorrow. He's just about, was he a pound higher or something like that? This is Tom Park's horse, who's the editor of our weeklies. He was convinced this was going to win a Coral Gold Cup to the effect. He went with you, didn't he?
Yeah.
And Jimmy Pugh and all those guys are here at the Racing Post. And sadly, he was only 5th that day. I think this is the day. Harry Cobden, just don't go that wide. This is one of my stronger plays of the day today, actually. I'm coming in hot off El Fabiolo as well, getting confident.
Cobden could be the key to him as well. If they gave him a good ride at Ascot last time, they seem to get on as a partnership. So
when does it get in a jockey's mind through these festivals that they just are not going to get another winner back? Because Harry Cobden must be like that. He's got such a big week ahead of him, hasn't he? Hermes Allen, the forgotten horse almost now all of a sudden, because such is the confidence from Willie Mullins' yard about Impera Pass tomorrow in the Ballymore. He's now becoming a filthy each way bet, Hermes Allen.
Yeah,
really,
this is the sort of thing that we've spoken about before. Is I think Aidan O'Brien did it last year at Royal Ascot, and I think Willie Mullins starts doing it now. Is that he runs their best juvenile or novice in what they think is the weakest race. What would you say to that? Would you say that is correct, or do you think the Ballymore is a stronger race than today's Supreme?
you mean your Little Big Bear and the Windsor
Like
Castle?
you run your Little Big Bear in the Windsor Castle. He's obviously a Coventry horse. They must have known that.
Not flat.
And you run your Sir Gerhard in the Ballymore.
You run the Sir Gerhard last year in the Ballymore just to get the win on the board. You don't have to beat Constitution.
Well, it's the Brat one at Ballymore, of course, where we went back and won champions. It depends. I don't know. It depends on the year. It depends on the class. It depends on the generation, all that sort of thing. I think Impera Pass and Hermes Allen is one of the sort of clashes of the week for sure. We just saw one in the Arkle, didn't we? I've gone for Oscar Elite. We're going to find out what the rest of the guys are going for and place a bet for the Injured Jockeys Fund. After I give you some beaten quotes, please. James Byrne is on track for us today, our Lambourne correspondent. Aidan Coleman, the winner was very good. Fair play to him. We just probably weren't as electric on their tacky ground. Now, this is interesting. He wasn't as push button as his other performance today. They're blaming the ground if they're blaming anything. Henderson is also, this is about John Bon. Henderson, I think he'd be better on better ground. We were tracking Dysart Dynamo, who I'm glad to see is okay. Amen on that. El Fabio was doing the same as us. We want to see him back on some better ground. They're bemoaning the rain.
It's just nonsense. I'm sorry. That's complete nonsense, right? John Bon has gone out there. He's finished second in the Arkle. He's run an absolute stormer. It might even be a career best performance from John Bon, right? He just got beaten on the day by a much better horse. And yet they're waffling on about the ground, right? The horse is just not good enough to beat El Fabiolo.
We're going to see him at Aintree again, where they're hoping El Fabiolo doesn't come and have another crack at him.
What
basically.
a load of nonsense.
I think they'll step him up in Trit next year, don't you? Ryanair horse? Depends what Blue
John
Lord
Bon.
does, of course. I think John Bob will go up in Trit.
Yeah, you'd imagine so, yeah.
Much depends on what Nicky does with his other chess pieces, of course, but interesting. Anyway, that's what we give you throughout the week, premium content. If you want to get, of course, the digital edition, it's 9 p.m. each night here. If you're signed up to your members club, you can get the digital edition as well. And all the quotes coming in, not just from the winners, but the beaten horses as well. What price do you think they went champion chase for El Fabiolo? He was 8-1 going into
Probably
this.
about
3-1.
Oh, Danny Archer's just nailed it.
I mean, it's the worst division currently going, so it's...
Is it?
Yes.
I went high pitched there.
You really? Yeah.
I really did. I got dramatic on that. Is it now?
Yes, it is. I mean, you've got 9-year-olds, 10-year-olds running who've been beating each other tomorrow. It's like I said, the youngest horses in tomorrow's champion chase are both exposed 8-year-olds, so it's a bad division.
Okay, I can tell you that it looks like, this is a feverish betting market, this Ultima coming up. Let's take it back to this. Money coming in for Fantastic House, I can tell you. Nassalam is just slightly on the drift. The Goffer looked like he might challenge for favouritism. Davy Russell takes the ride. Is this Davy's first ride of the day?
No, he rode Dr. Bravo.
Right, thank you, Danny. There was a bit of a story, wasn't there, on the Race Expo's website? Did you see that, Michael O'Leary? saying I think he should have stayed retired. He was talking to Matt Chapman.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with David David O'Leary. He was the guy who used to play for.
He's a magnificent Republic of Ireland defender.
No, I agree with Michael O'Leary.
Well, I think a lot of people do, G-Rob, but the timing of this, the release of it's quite interesting.
The fella hung up his boots, right? Jordan Gameford and all the other jockeys down at Gordon Elliott's must have been thinking, right, Christmas has come now. We're going to get all these good rides. Now, how is jockeys like Jordan Gameford and something meant to become Davy Russell if they can't get that experience of riding in big races? They must have thought their time was coming, and then suddenly Gordon or Davy or one of them goes to each other. Davy's coming out of retirement, and then all the best rides, and then going to Davy Russell, who are then going to retire as soon as Jack Kennedy comes back.
It's Cristiano Ronaldo all over again. It's like, look,
that is a great way of looking at it.
You've had your time. You were fantastic. Just let's get the Rashfords and the Sanchos into the first team, and you. It
worked out well
in
the beginning for Cristiano again, didn't it? It ended horribly. Let's hope David. I think the timing of it was a bit off, personally. You know, I think it was.
Of the story or the decision?
The story. What like releasing out today? You know, they've obviously been sitting on it. Davy's about to go out and do his job, you know, and all that sort of stuff. He's under a lot of pressure.
Well, I mean, it's the boss of Ryanair, so maybe it was delayed. Maybe it was supposed to come out.
Do you think? Absolutely, quite right. Yeah, not quite a full ticket. Anyway, whatever you think about that, there was a bit of a story out there today which we led with, and there was a lot of reaction to it on our social channels as well. We've pretty much gone through the card here then. There are two interesting tips still to come. Graeme Rodway.
I fancy a big price. Fanny and Destraval, I think, is a massive price. Really well handicapped, on his very best form. He actually ran, I think, last year behind Allaho in the Ryanair, which obviously was outclassed. He's come back this season. He's quite unexposed over really long trips like this one, and he stayed on really well when he was third behind into overdrive and Sounds Russian at Wetherby. He was outpaced. It's quite a sort of sharp track at Wetherby. He was outpaced, and then he ran on into third. Into overdrive's obviously in this race. Sounds Russian came out and finished second at Cheltenham. I think that's really good form. I think this track will suit him a lot better than Wetherby will. The stiff uphill finish should suit him. And you can forget his last run at Newbury. Number one, he was probably prepping for this race, and number two, it was that weird Denman race where they ran it on really quick ground, and he doesn't like quick ground, he likes slow ground.
This is very Venetia to win a race like this with a horse like this.
I've backed him each way.
I'm still wondering how Chambard won the Kim Muir last year.
Lucy Turner rode Chambard, and she rides Fanny and Destraval here claiming
She also rode this chap in the Coral Gold Cup, as we know, it used to be the Old Hennessy. They're down at the start, by the way, guys, and Hugh Masson is on this as well. He needs to start well. If you remember, it was a standing start, and he got mullered by that. And he actually didn't run too badly. Right, is that going to be one of our £5 each way bets? You're leading the tournament, so you may as well.
May as well, mightn't we?
Weigh up some of the profit you got from earlier.
Playing with the bookmakers' winnings after our fantastic tricast.
It's always the best way, that, isn't it?
So we're going to go for a £5 each way, right down the bottom on Fanny and Destraval, 33s. We're getting 6 places here, look, each way. So we'll just place the bet, and that's gone through. And we're on for £208 if Fanny and Destraval wins.
Ross, I'm going to give you the next one.
Yeah, I quite like 3 under through 5 for this race. I was saying to you about how the British trainers basically decide that they can't win the feature races, and that for their kind of best novices and best chasers, they tend to go for the handicaps. I think in hindsight, they wish they would have done that with this horse last year, who was well beaten behind L'Empresse in the Brown Advisory, but he had some really good form last year. He battered Fantastic Ass at Doncaster. He battered Does He Know here at this track over 3 miles last season. And you know, that course and distance form, he's here off a mark of 150. Does He Know was third behind Zanza the other day in Grade 2 company. Now, it hasn't worked out for him this year, but he ran over hurdles on his return. He unseated at Newbury behind Milos. And at Warwick, 3 mile 6 or whatever it is in the classic chase, he just didn't get home, but he was still there pitching.
Yeah, he was, yeah. You've got to watch it back. They've been a bit lukewarm on him. I've spoken to connections about this. We had Max McNeil on What a Shout. And he said, well, you know, we think he's a national horse in the making, but he's a classic second season chaser. Just struggled. His prep has gone terribly for him. So you think he can bounce back here? I think it's possible. Yeah, it is a possibility. There's a spin round for this, or maybe he might go to air or something as well. But I just thought he was overpriced. And I actually had a little saver on the other Venetia horse, Laskalin.
who I thought was also a very, very big prize.
That's Chambard Mach 2 if that wins.
Exactly that. Now, this horse has just got good numbers. Ludlow, Newbury, Sandown. If you took out the Ascot run behind Cap de Nord, I don't think finishing second to Castle Robin getting beaten 7-2 favourite and coming here would make you an 80-1 shot.
I think I can see the 300 through 5 thing. So can we put another £5 each way on that, please, G, for all the places,
yeah,
please?
I can see that one as well.
He'll be up there as well, wouldn't
yeah,
we, which we like in this race a little bit.
Again,
Until Corac
6
last year,
places.
this was a sort of 5th and 6th and Pounce race.
And the races that Nichols with Le Président, Solar Impulse, your handicap chasers, and they both wore tongue ties when they won as well. So these are the races that he wins at Cheltenham, and he might not want to admit it on camera, but he mops up pretty much every other feature meeting in the UK until the Irish come over and dominate at Cheltenham. And he won't want to admit that, but these are the races that he tends to win.
Well, this is exciting. It's the first handicap of many this week. All the spills and thrills that we've got coming our way. We get to see some more seasoned pros coming out onto the track then. What fun we've had. I'll get time from the Arkle coming off as well, so we can get a check on the chase track coming up as well. So we've got Fast or Slow in the Lucky 15.
Yep.
I've backed him. I've backed Oscar Elite. He's my number one hope. I have had a bit on Corrick Rambler as well because I can just see him running a fantastic job. He's only £6 high, you know. And
he's going to finish a running on 5th or 6th, correct?
Tom Siegel very, very keen on this one. None of us have gone for Into Overdrive, which is interesting, isn't it? Because he's the sort of sexy horse profile-wise, isn't it?
It's the course that form, though, isn't it? I mean, to be fair, it's just been blown apart by El Fabiolo, but there aren't 20 horses with course form in that race. There are in this.
Sure.
But there's an equivalent race at Aintree, isn't there? And I think that'd be. He'll run a good race here, and I think he'll win that because that is absolutely perfect for him.
So if Fast or Slow wins or the Goffer wins, Dan, you've got to say not since 2006, okay?
Not since
when
2006.
Dundor went up and won it.
Yeah.
The year before I saw Francois Duman won it. Kelami, 2005.
I loved Kalami. He went to JP, didn't he? Yeah, I loved Kalami. He used to run in the Amberley House colours. He was a lovely, lovely animal.
Just as they jump off, Corrick Rambler, Keith did a preview show with Keith, who is very different after a pint at a preview show an evening. Said,
imagine.
They're getting ready, guys.
He said Derek Fox has never met a hold-up race he didn't like.
Oh, he had the right bee in his bonnet about a winning ride last year. We'll get on to that after this call from Danny Archer in the Ultima.
Happy Go Lucky is prominent along with the other Venetia Williams trained, one of the guys did mention, which is Cloudy Glen. Topville Ben also now starting to be prominent. There's about 10 in a row as they come to first.
Wow!
3 under through 5 was a meat in the sandwich, got away with it.
12 of them up front over the first.
Carl Philippe is the one who's going to take this in front for Harry Redknapp and Connection. So Carl Philippe leads along with Fantasticus. On the outside, that looks to be Harper's Brook. But at the moment, Topville Ben now comes through to lead. Bearing in mind as well, this is another thing to mention, this is the kind of race, again, the new course is a bit more prominent for this, but this is still a race that before Corrick Rambler blew that apart again, you didn't want to be too far behind because it can be easy to make a mistake and lose the position.
Right. Yeah, which I've already done, by the way, on Oscar Elite. He ballooned the second. They were going too quick for him. I don't know. I mean, Harry Cobden's probably thinking this is not going to be another
it's
one.
It's not. Yeah, 300 through 5 got squeezed out at the start and he's made a mistake there. He's been put off by everything that's going on. Happy Go Lucky's got a lovely position. Remember, he finished second behind Vintage Cloud, sent off favourite in this race a couple of seasons ago and then won that Aintree event. So he's having a nice time of it. Fantastic Ass has got a lovely early position as well. Nassalam made a bad mistake there, being pushed along by Jamie Moore at that last one.
This is a typical Cheltenham.
This is fierce already, isn't it?
Fierce, they're going nuts up front.
If you're a bit of a thinker, you're a bit of a thinker, like some of these horses you mentioned,
like Fanny and Destravel, he's 8 in this. He's
a lot of money for Monbeg Genius. You can see there. Did they go off joints on the off? We'll find out. Who was that then?
Monbeg Genius.
Was it? Yeah. And again, a horse that was a novice at the start of the season.
Yeah. Happy Go Lucky wasn't fantastic there either. So
big breakaway in the middle.
Yeah. They've slowed it down a bit up front, but out the back. I mean, Nassalam's hating every second of it, isn't it?
Yeah, Fanny's hating this, I think.
Fanny's not
fast or slow, I'm happy with. He's right in the middle of the pitch.
Yeah.
But he's in one of 3 under 3-5 along with Monbeg Genius. But
very nice. Where's Korak, G? Can you go on Korak?
Korak is behind 3 under 3-5, isn't he?
About 7 behind.
I can see him, yeah. I got him.
Monbeg Genius, bad mistake.
Yeah, that was a bad
Oscar Elite and Fanny and Destra at the back of the field, Dave.
Very surprised if Monbeg Genius...
doesn't look like you're going to be getting the hat-trick here, G-Rod.
Well, put another 0 on it, Dave.
Oh, there you go. There's the double bluff then.
By the way, this is Harper's Brook that's gone on. Bearing in mind, Global Citizen for Ben Pauling won in these silks last year. Tongue tie, first-time cheek pieces as well for Harper's
here we go.
Brook. back to Cheltenham.
Yeah, fantastic cast up then, and Stone Lower. Happy Go Lucky, of course, who's got form in this race. Has he got his ground again? Kim Bailey hasn't had a winner for a long, long time. The Wolf is roaring in there. Come on, T Clipper, you big lump, I saw someone say in the comments. He's going really well at the moment.
Yeah, he always goes really well.
Looking for a couple of others then. Carl Philippe just drifted back slightly.
Into overdrive, lovely position, loving every second of this. He's loved every second. The only horse that's beat him this season is L'Empresse, so he's in fantastic nick this year.
Good boy Bobby in the double green, going nice on the outside as well.
Yeah. The Goffer, Davy Russell then. He's got him buried in one of the gambles as well for this. Correct Rambler's starting to warm up a tad by his own standards. Passing the stands then for the first time, all still to play for.
Harper's Brook then out in front. They had a Topville Ben, Fantasticus and Happy Go Lucky. No real errors so far from the market principles. The top. Oscar Elite was slightly slow along with Fanny and Destraval. But over the next, still Harper's Brook out in front. Happy Go Lucky, Topville Ben, T Clipper. Into Overdrive, Montbeg Genius, all prominent. Remastered just got slightly scrubbed along there. And also the back of the field struggling is ICO Madric. But Harper's Brook going well out in front, Dave.
Yeah, just about the favourite on the exchange Betfair at the moment, I think, is the Goffer. There's a bit of love for that as he starts to creep into it a little bit. But it's got a lot to do, hasn't he? Big breakaway, just shifted back slightly. Topville Ben up there. Didn't he run well at the Dublin Racing Festival, Topville Ben, the only English handicapper that went over?
Yeah, by the way, I think if that clock's correct, the horse in front of us absolutely slowed this down.
They've just gone up a hill there, though.
Contentious point that clock sometimes, our analysts say.
What I'm going to say is there aren't many British novices in this year. Harper's Brook, Tongue Tie Cheap Eats is on. Last time out, he was only sent off 13-2 for the race won by the Real Whacker, who of course is second favourite for the Brown Advisory. He's having a right old time of it here. And Tom Cannon, what a jockey he's been over the past couple of seasons.
Yeah, Mr. Edward Stone tomorrow, of course.
Big breakaway, struggling badly. So is Lascallon. Looks like on the inside, the Wolf as well. A lot of those at the back are really
all thinkers that you're talking about here. It's like this is like what Charlie Price calls the red zone. They don't want to be taken out of it.
If Fast or Slow can't finish top 4 here, I'm going to walk out of the studio.
Come on, JJ Slevin. This is the one now for the lucky 15.
If Harper's Brook stays, though, I think they're going to do very well to get past him. He's having a right old time out in front.
I'm just going to give you a time for the Arkle, guys. If it's supposed to be slow ground, El Fabiolo's clocked a very respectable time. So is it riding slightly better on the chase course?
Might be. Yeah, might be.
Okay, so let's see who's in contention. Harper's Brook, Fantastic Cats, Happy Go Lucky, just behind those. Is that Montbeg Genius still going?
Montbeg Genius. I don't know if is that Montbeg Genius or is it the?
It is Montbeg Genius.
Yes, it is. It's coming. Despite walking through a few fences, the joint fam is on the move.
The winner's in front.
So still Harper's Brook out in front. Fantasticus, Happy Go Lucky, T Clipper starting to get into attention. The Goffer is getting a bit of a cold ride. He's coming into it. Fast or Slow and Correct Rambler from the back as well. Oscar Elite is now staying on.
Never.
A few are staying on strongly from the back of the field, but still Harper's Brook under Tom Cannon got a good ride. Look at Davy Russell trying to pull out wide on the Goffer with Oscar Elite also staying on. Fast or Slow under JJ Slevin is also prominent. Montbeg Genius still there. They come to the next. Mistake from Fantasticas. Still, Montbeg Genius is absolutely tanking for John Joe O'Neill.
Cruising.
The Goffer going well. Oscar Elite, Fast or Slow.
They're all
Correct Rambler on the rail. What a race we've got here. 5 or 6, all in contention here. Harper's Brook still leads. Happy Go Lucky.
Look at Oscar Elite.
Montbeg Genius, Fast or Slow, and the Goffer, the ones to focus on the outside. The Correct Rambler has to get a gap. Oscar Elite also staying on. The Goffer has creeped into this brilliantly and now leads. Fast or Slow in third. Montbeg Genius in front. The Goffer. Here comes Fast or Slow under JJ Slevin. The Goffer and Oscar Elite are staying on as well.
Come on,
Rambler. He's trying to get through a gap. Fast or Slow. JJ for a big one. And as they come up the road, Correct Rambler and Fast or Slow. These two go on together. Correct Rambler and Fast or Slow. Derek Fox, this man has ice in his veins. What a performance from Correct Rambler. Fast or Slow staying on, but it's double bubble. For Correct Rambler, he emulates Pour 2 with back-to-back winnings of the Ultima.
Oh, Danny Archer, take a breath, mate. Go and have a beer. You deserve it after that. What a finish that was. Back-to-back winners then of the Ultima. He was only £6 higher, said Tom Siegel. He's been saying it throughout his previews. What price for the Grand National after that, chaps? That's what we're going to be asking. Fast or Slow has done... We've seen a theme of last year's festival in every single race that we've had so far in the 3. And he's been chinned again, Fast or Slow, hasn't he? Martin Brassel showing that he is the master of the plot, but he has come up against one. And the Irish wait for the Ultima continues. That's now since 2006. The Goffer was there, wasn't it? Fast or Slow was there. Derek Fox up the inside like El Fabiolo. Picked that one apart, Ross Brierley.
I mean, it was a really, really good renewal, wasn't it? And it was one of those races that completely changed. There was a moment where you thought, OK, there's 4 or 5 horses in the mix here, and they all disappeared. I mean, Danny, it's a great call, but there's words you didn't use I think you probably wanted to. As Fast or Slow looked like he had the race
Thank God he didn't.
It was such a good ride by JJ Slavin because he's beaten every other horse, but he's been pipped by the one horse who knows exactly what he has to do to win this race. And then he came back. I mean, Corach Rambler just jinked a little bit, and Fast or Slow ended up, he looked like he was going to get beaten 2 lengths. He's got beaten a neck practically. The horse to take out the race for me is Monbeg Genius, who didn't jump but ran an absolute blinder back in 3rd. The Goffer probably went a little bit too soon in that regard, and there's plenty of horses who basically their race was done by earlier mistakes. 3 under through 5. Oscar Elite's run a cracker, despite the fact that he hated every second of it as well. Yeah. Nassalam didn't jump particularly well, and he's not enjoyed it, and T Clipper's not got home. Harper's Brook hasn't stayed. He'd have had a good chance at the plate the way he went there, but Corach Rambler, that is some performance to come back and win that the second time on the bounce and keep that Irish hoodoo.
8-1 for the national. I've just seen.
8-1.
Rambler.
Yeah, it was 12's best price generally going into this. I must admit, I'm quite excited about that one. G-Rod, you couldn't have him.
No, I just thought that he might need the run. You know, that was always my worry with him, which he obviously didn't. And we did say before, Lucinda's flying. He's a funny horse, isn't he? When he got to the front, he pulled himself up, and Fast or Slow almost came back in. But he's that sort of horse. You just always feel that there's a little bit more to come with him. I don't think he does anything more than he absolutely has to, and he doesn't really want to do even as much as he has to. So, I know you like him for the national, but I cannot have him.
I have been all over him since November. You know it. I said that is sometimes you just see it. He just reminds me of number 6 Valverde. He reminds me he's better than One for Arthur. Who is very, very dear to my heart.
Horses
like
just
a lot of people
don't
out
win
there.
Grand Nationals like that, do they? Picking
One
their
for
way
Arthur
through
did.
the field.
Derek Fox did.
Maybe.
And this guy. So when
He's won his only start at the track as well. Yeah. He's unbeaten at Cheltenham. He's unbeaten at Aintree. I mean,
this is
it's not a bad profile,
animal, is it? They tried to see if he was a Brown Advisory horse this time last year, and he's obviously much better than a handicapper, isn't he? He's a right.
I'm actually heartbroken about that. I thought the Brassel. I mean, I'm now thinking the plate. Would they gone a bit too quick for him because it looked like he really did see it out well. But
was he the last off the bridle?
I think Corach Rambler was as well. I think it was tight between those two.
Look, we had Lucinda Russell on. G, do you remember on What a Shout the eve of the Cold Gold Cup, and she said to us, "Look, he will be looking at the ambulances early. He'll be looking like he can't jump a fence." And he watched that back. She got it to a T. Apparently, Peter Scudamore does all the work himself with his horse because he's such a nutter.
Yeah,
you know, like-minded individuals, of course. And he's got this absolutely right. And I'm thrilled for Scotland, of course, because she turns up the Queen of Scottish racing. She plunders the big prizes, and whatever wins the national will have to beat that.
It's just incredible because you say horses don't win Grand Nationals like that, but you don't see handicap chases at Cheltenham won in the way that
he rolls up
has won not only this race this year, but the way he won it last year as well. Like picking his way through a big field just seems to suit him. He's obviously a bit nuts, isn't he?
There's the result then. Fast or Slow, second yet again for another year. The money was right for Monbeg Genius guys, wasn't it? The Novices Ross, wasn't he? Big engine.
He's run a really, really big race there, hasn't he? He's clearly one to keep an eye on. And you remember what we said right at the start is that there was 9 or 10 of them rattling to that first fence. The pace has fallen to pieces.
Yeah.
Late in this race.
Look at the 1, 2, 3. It's a home soil. 1, 2, 3.
No, it's not.
Everyone was. Oh no, sorry. Fast or Slow's Irish.
Yeah,
of course. It's a 1, 3, 2, 4. But the home soil is coming back. Like this AstroTurf in here. It is soil. It's coming back. And we've got one on the board. I'm seeing loads of people in the chat and on social saying, the Irish are coming to clean up again.
But we win the handicap chases and they win everything else.
The thing is that they've just, the best horses in those first two races were Irish trained, and the best horse in that race was English trained. And I don't think it's an Ireland-England thing. I just think most of the best horses are in Ireland, so they win more races.
Well, Danny, you nearly steamed to the front of the leaderboard as well today.
No, that's miles away from me, Dave. Look, I'm up there, and you lot are all down here.
If he'd have won it, he'd have been 1 point ahead. But if some buts,
No,
right?
he
Look at
wouldn't.
Mission
No,
Control. They've yet to take off.
He'd have been
Mission Control.
behind. He'd have been behind me if he'd have won it.
Well, that is
He'd have had 8 points.
it's
True.
the first handicap of the week
Imbecile.
done, and it didn't disappoint us. What did I miss there?
I would have only been on 8 points,
Is he
not
sniping?
11.
He said you're a wonderful man.
Yeah.
There you go. Jolly good. Absolutely. Well, the feeling's mutual. Okay.
But
Well,
another thing to say, last thing to say for Monbeg Genius is he's the only horse anywhere near the mix there who hadn't raced at Cheltenham before. The Goffer and Faster Slow were in the Martin Pike last year. Corrupt Ramblers unbeaten here. Oscar Elite, T-Clipper, they've all been here. Monbeg Genius showed that he was a bit noisy around the track, but he's clearly got a big race in him for sure.
let's just take breath then, because punters are having a great time at the moment, aren't they? Marine Nationale heavily backed. Even though it wasn't Fav, El Fabiolo.
Facile
heavily
Vega probably
backed.
the one that if people would have been, if some people had gone big on that, but yeah, Marine Nationale.
The
I think he drifted
young uns.
slightly, didn't he?
We did, but he's very well fancied
Still
at backs,
second
wasn't he?
favourite.
Yeah, exactly. The money's been right so far. And Corrupt Rambler, of course.
Look at the price of those first four, 6, 7, 6, 7.
Wow.
They're all,
No roughy in the mix. It was
Day
a rough
one, though,
race.
that's what day one is all the time, isn't
You
it?
can't go wrong either, like with trainers that are flying, can you? We're talking about Mullins, we're talking about Barry Connell having a fantastic season, we're talking about Lucinda Russell coming in after 6, 7, 8 winners in the last 10 days or so. The yards that have got their horses in absolute peak condition are the ones to be following this week. And the great thing about the Cheltenham Festival is it is 4 days, so you can see whose horses are running well and whose aren't in the first day and the second day, and apply that to later on in the week, which is what I'll be doing.
Well, I'm thrilled to say that the waiting is over, because
Yes.
we are T-minus 25 minutes away from, I don't know, the most anticipated jump race since...
Coulter, Star and Denman, I reckon.
Probably right.
So
Probably right.
we're talking 15 years.
The most anticipated hurdle race since? Probably is, isn't it?
Oh, for a long time. We're going back. We're going back to the greats, aren't we? We're going back to Monksfield and
Isterbrack's third?
Yeah, but you see, Isterbrack never had a real challenger, did he? Like, Isterbrack was head and shoulders above the
So
rest.
Polly used to follow him. I'm doing very good horse.
The last kind of time you got it's a very different type of horse, obviously, but there was a period where Hurricane Fly coming back, it was kind of an excitement about what's he going to do. Will he? There was a couple of years there where it had its own kind of exciting subplot with
Hugh
one
Musson
horse.
says Big Bucks versus Grand Cru, which, while it was an absolute box office number, probably wasn't quite this sort of
Well,
thing.
I mean, having backed Grand Cru all winter to win a small house, it was for me. But
Was it?
I agree here.
I mean, you can
painful memories for
you
Roscoe.
can call me a purist, but for me,
You're a purist.
the champion hurdle is the hurdle race. The Stayers hurdle, not really. I mean, the Stayers hurdle, I don't really think is strong enough to hold a day on its own. Like it does on Thursday, but along with the Ryanair, the champion hurdle's just the champion. It's one of the best races of the whole year, isn't it?
Yeah,
Do you
Grizzly
go out
Bear
trying
says
to train
Monksfield
a
versus Sea
Stayers
Pigeon,
hurdle?
by the way.
No.
You know.
No, you don't. You never set out at the start of your horse's career and say, right, we're going to train this horse to be
No.
a staying hurdler and win 4 Stayers hurdles, do you?
We're in this weird sort of situation now on this show where I haven't had a feeling like this before on this show, I don't think. Night Nurse, Sea Pigeon, keep them coming in. The greats, of course.
The greats, yeah. Night Nurse, Sea Pigeon, see you then.
Well, yeah, even that.
You just
Even
see all
those
this,
guys look
people think, and then just in between, there's Clutch Jamie says, "I got a feeling Vauban will nick it."
I know, I saw that quote. I saw the Vauban quote. Well, look, who is opposing Constitution Hill? Who's daring to put the lay button out there?
Anything is possible in racing. That is the one thing that we know is that for all that we all think that Constitution Hill and State Man, it's a match between the two. We have seen silly things happen before, even in this race a couple of years ago. Do you remember when Applestray turned up and there was another horse in that race?
Belvedere had a shocker in it one year.
And it
Detroit
was
City, size in Europe.
and it was won by Espoir Delaine at 20 to 1.
Yeah.
It happens, but well, we don't want it to happen here, do we? What we want to see, surely all of us want to see, is one of the greatest performances of all time.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
all right. So the main 2 races are indeed coming up now, all right? So we've got this beautiful festival still. Well, look, let's get on with this. Is anyone... I've got a feeling I can remember the tips now. And I'm looking at someone down this bench. Hands up for Constitution Hill. Oh, there's only 3. That means
Someone
there is
had to.
one person on this panel. And Roscoe, you may as well take the floor then.
It's not.
Statement.
It's not that I think he will. It's just that whenever anyone says it wins, move on, my brain goes, okay, I need to have another look at this. And you've got to a little bit, because how many times, as you said over the years, it wins, moves on, it wins, moves on, it wins, moves on, and then you go, oh, it didn't win. How did it not win? Or maybe you shouldn't have moved on so quickly. But they're both 6-year-olds. They're both coming into this after win. They've both got Cheltenham Festival form from last year. They're both multiple Grade 1 winners. They're both... Stateman is rated £6 inferior to Constitution Hill. And if everyone's saying that he's not won anything impressively, and he's only been winning 4 or 5 races, how much do you... You're an analyst. You've got a horse going into a Grade 1 race. This is their best race. Their chance to put in a world-class performance. What's your average pound improvement for, or what can they do regularly, quite easily, to win a champion hurdle?
Well, but we are talking about a bit of an outlier on this situation.
No, but what I'm saying is, if you've got a horse at champion hurdle and you say they have to improve £7 or £8 to win, that's more than reasonable, right?
Yeah, well, yes, it is.
No, I'm not. I know there's caveats, but...
No, 7 or 8 is quite high, actually.
Yeah?
I would say 7 or 8 is quite high, wouldn't you?
I think to win a race.
No, to win
a championship race.
To win a championship
on
race.
RPRs, of course, you're always likely to get your highest RPR in a champion hurdle, right?
I always think, a huge amount of improvement is £10 and a small amount of improvement is 5. So if you're talking about a state man making a small amount of improvement, you're probably talking 5, which won't be good enough. And
Small's a bit harsh on 5, I think. But
do you think?
it's
Well,
let's say
it's a contentious point.
Bouvardere, for example, improved £11 to win his first one. Espoir d'Oilem improved £7 to win to win his. So I guess what I'm saying is, if there's £6 between 2 horses, and you're saying the second favourite can't beat the favourite, then it's palpably false, isn't it? On what's to be expected.
So what we need to do now for everyone out there is build up what we think will happen in this race, how you play the race, and
I don't think
I'd
he
love
will
to know
be.
what sort of Racing Post rating you think Constitution Hill is going to get here. Who's dialing a distance? Lengthen your odds on Betfair Exchange, for example. Who's done the distance race with Bet365 that they floated on What a Shout Live on Friday? It was 5-1 the champion hurdle. Cross country was 7-2. 22 lengths Constitution Hill in this. Since he's won 14 and 17 lengths.
I don't actually think he was as good at Kempton.
He wasn't quite as good, no. And we've rated it a pound lower.
That's when he ran at Newcastle. I thought he was absolutely outstanding at
For
Newcastle.
the first time in his life, he wasn't brilliant at a hurdle. It was just 2 out, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He wasn't bad, but he wasn't brilliant.
I've seen a lot of good horses, and I don't think I've seen many better than this one.
Yeah, no, probably do I. That's why it's so very, very exciting. But let's find out what you think then. I want to know what sort of RPR he's going to hit, Racing Post rating. You can go on to your members club and look what he's done so far. This should be a peak. Okay, Paul, hoping for something special from Constitution Hill. No bets on the race, but still looking forward to it. We'll come back to that, Paul. Chris Timms, good to have you with us, Chris. I can see Nico taking it up, turning in, and then Constitution Hill will bound to win by 10. Chris is going 10 then. Easy 10 for the Constitution. Soul Survivor, 79. Says Stateman is a beast of a horse also. Is this the clash of the week?
Yeah.
The 2-horse clash of the week.
Yeah,
We've just had
2-horse clash
one
of
in
the
the
week.
Arkle, haven't we?
Yeah.
The Gold Cup is the clash of the week because of the
But there's
lineup,
more than
but
there's not 2 horses.
not 2
Like,
standouts.
not a Quarter Denman thing, is it?
No, this is
the clash of the week. We're all agreed on this.
In any normal year, State Man would be a short price favourite to win this champion hurdle.
The county hurdle winner from last year. He's since not looked back in Grade 1 company. He's been beaten, of course. That's why he was in it.
Yeah, and don't forget, he's trained by Willie Mullins, ridden by Paul Townend. The pair are absolutely mustard around Cheltenham, particularly in 2 mile.
Did you do the
hurdles like
preview for this?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did. Yeah, and he's got a great chance, but Constitution Hill just looks something.
When Willie Mullins says,
ordinary.
I don't think I can have my horse any better, we should be seeing something special, shouldn't we?
And what's the... But what... I'm going to read the comment out. I'm going to name check the person in the comments because it is a fair point.
Wins by 6, says Luke Rawson. Mighty Gomez says the Hill by 12.
Crazy Horse says, yes, go on, State Man. You want 2 great horses, otherwise you can't be great. And that's a fair point. You have to be a great horse, you have to be another great horse, or you've got nothing to rate it against.
Absolutely. That's why Honeysuckle is not great.
Okay, she's coming up to prove G-Rod wrong in around about, an hour's time. Cannot wait to see that. Let's check the paddock first, says Grizzly Bear. We want to see them all. We're keeping our eyes on that. Danny Archer's being a little bit quiet. You're getting nervous, Archer, I can tell.
Yeah, this is big, I think. I think this is big for the sport.
You've played out this commentary in your mind. How does it go?
I think he'll pull away after the final flight. I think they might, the thing I want them to do is turn in. But I think this is turning together and then we have a race. But I think for me, for my age group, he's huge for, with Honeysuckle now departing, sadly,
How
after
old were you
today.
when Mr. Bratt was winning his 3rd champion hurdle in
2000 I was 4. I was 3. So for me, in a social media guy and all that stuff, this is a big year. This is a big horse for the future. If this wins today, he doesn't just transcend, he transcends the sport of racing.
Well, and this is what we're talking about. Like, he's not just talking about going on to be one of the greatest hurdlers of all time. He is the connections. Michael Buckley is talking about this horse going on to be the greatest jumps horse of all time by winning a champion hurdle and then attempting to try and go and win a Gold Cup, which has not been done since 1980 odd Dawn Run. The last horse to do it, I think, was Celtic Shot. The last horse to try it, with a realistic chance of doing so, was Celtic Shot in 1991. He won a champion hurdle and went a 5-2 favourite for a Gold Cup and finished 7th, I think. So this is something that your generation, Danny, I was alive during Dawn Run's era, but I don't remember it. We just haven't seen a horse try this before, and we want to see him. This is the first leg. This is just the first leg, this champion hurdle. This is like a stepping stone. Yes,
this could hopefully be thought, I totally see where you're coming from there, and I really like that angle. This is still it's something of an infancy, isn't it, for
He's
the
only
Constitution
ever
Hill.
run 5 times.
It's ridiculous, isn't it?
We're talking
It's
about
madness.
a horse that is essentially a novice.
He's basically the Frankel of the jumps, right?
And he's 3-1 on to win a
I just
champion
feel
hurdle.
so blessed to be alive in these
And
times.
Frankel missed the social, really. He was just at the end, when Twitter and everything was kind of happening, whereas this guy is bang in the middle of it. All the build-up, all the talk about the whole 4 days is all over about him.
I personally think that if he wins the champion hurdle, he will go chasing next year, and there's a chance that this time next year we might be sitting here saying Constitution Hill is going for the champion hurdle Gold Cup double, because I don't think they'll mess around.
You think they'll go up and check with him?
I don't think they'll mess around with novice races at Cheltenham Festival next year.
Ultimately, he was an Irish point to points, wasn't he?
Presuming all goes well, and he comes through his schooling races well. This horse is far too good to be running in a Brown Advisory or an Arkle or a Turner's. I mean, if he wins a champion hurdle this time next year, we will be sitting here saying, could we see history? Well,
Sprinter Sacra is the greatest chaser I can remember over 2 miles, that's for sure. I mean,
190 twice his RPR.
He was just the Don, right? He was the Messiah, and they could have gone champion chase with him that year. They stuck to the Arkle route. We'll be talking about that hopefully in the debrief after this race. Right now, though, there's a poll out there. Constitution, how far? Not too far, says everyone out there. Or are you going 16 plus lengths? Get your votes in. You can do that on YouTube. Like and subscribe. Get involved. Have your voice heard. I'll tell you what, if you're watching the chat as well, it's going crazy at the moment, isn't it?
It's actually got to the point where if Constitution Hill doesn't win this race easily, we're all going to sit here and be disappointed.
Well, that's what I was going to. My next question: when will you be? What does he have to do to become the greatest ever in this race? How far?
He has to win by a long way. He has to win by 10 plus lengths.
He has
double digits.
He has to cross the line before they started the mares. That's what he has to do.
That's okay. Ross is already in the camp then.
No, but genuinely, bearing in mind if what you're saying is true, then do you know what the bet is? State Man to win next year's champion hurdle, because he'll get beaten 10 lengths here by a future Gold Cup winner.
Few people have been saying that,
and he'll coast home in next year's champion hurdle.
That might not be a bad shout, actually. But talking about Constitution Hill to become the greatest, probably record the greatest figure, he also needs State Man to beat the rest.
Right, check this out. Mission Control are proving their worth here. Look, this is future markets for Constitution Hill. The 2025, you can believe it. Not even this is madness, isn't it? I mean, look, we don't advocate betting heavy odds on, but I don't know what price becomes value. Champion Hurdle 5-4. This is next year. The Arkle 6s. Graeme says no point. 2024 Turners. I'd put another 0 on that one. At 6-1, and the Gold Cup definitely looks the most attractive there. That's an outlier of a price,
there's
isn't it?
absolutely no way, I don't think anyway, personally, that this all turns up for a Champion Hurdle next year if he wins this easily. What is the point?
It's so lucrative. It's so lucrative to stay as a Champion Hurdle and become Isterbrack, by winning 3. Could he win?
Yeah, but
could he win 4?
But Dawn Run, Isterbrack. I mean, Dawn Run is here. Isterbrack is, there, isn't he?
I'm not totally sure about that.
You don't think so?
He would be nearly number 1 on my all-time favourite horses list.
Yeah, but favourite horses, great horses, different.
He was a great horse. Don't be going down that road. Let's work. So
Ross Brierley was great, but he wasn't a Dawn Run.
Ross Brierley, I'm going to move on. Ross Brierley is looking at State Man from a 7. I mean, is that the filthiest each way bet of the week? A lot of people are going. This is.
There's only 7 runners, isn't there? So I wouldn't want to.
But now the books are playing 3s on that. There's so loads of books play 3s. Yeah, they do. Bet365 led the way on that.
Yeah,
one,
you got the extra.
Sure.
Yeah, but not at 7-2. No one's going 3 places. Understandably so. But hang
on.
Look, I'm not saying. I just want a good race. Look, this is the thing. In any normal year, State Man is rated £2 inferior currently to Vortor when he came here. He's £2 inferior to Bouvedere after he'd won a Champion Hurdle. So State Man is already rated a Champion Hurdle winning level. You've got a Triumph Hurdle winner here in Vorbank. You've got I Like to Move It, who is unbeaten over course and distance and comes into this off the back of a trial. 165, which is, by the way, £4 better than what State Man did in his run in here. So those 3 horses, they're all. State Man's potentially a great horse. Vorban and I Like to Move It are very, very good horses.
Yeah.
So this is setting up perfectly for a great performance. But it requires State Man. What this requires for a great performance, I think, is the State Man to run to 170 and to Constitution Hill to batter him.
Yeah, absolutely, and it could happen. But I take your point. I mean, this is a Champion Hurdle. I Like to Move It is obviously a very good horse. Vorban's a very good horse. The State Man, I think, is a very, very good horse.
We're getting some interesting shouts, by the way, guys, from the chat. Chris Atkinson says RPR race post rating 180. That's the magic, isn't it? Was it?
181, I think, is
that's
Isterbrack, is it?
And
not?
what was the last year's Gold Cup winner? I've forgotten his name. He's gone.
Aplutard.
Aplutard.
Yeah, but
he was 181.
Chasers always get higher rating than hurdlers. I mean, the best hurdler that on RPRs is Isterbrack at 181, and Constitution Hill to become the best hurdler in the RPR era needs to better that. I still don't think that Isterbrack was as good as the absolute greats, Night Nurse, Monksfield, Sea Pigeon, that absolute golden area, but Constitution Hill could be.
Well, you looked into this at the start of the season for us, didn't there? I'm not going into it too much, but a few eggs that came your way, weren't there? Because you actually said after he won the fight in fifth, this is better than Isterbrack. Pretty much.
Pretty much. I think I said he at this stage of his career, he looks a lot better than Isterbrack, because I think at this stage of his
honestly,
career,
people spat blood when they heard that.
Isterbrack had not. Well, he hadn't achieved anything like what Constitution Hill has achieved after 5 starts, Isterbrack.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that will be looking at themselves on Twitter, I think, this just jump season, and looking back and thinking, delete.
The interesting bit, because we were saying about chasers getting better ratings, and partly that you haven't seen a Champion Hurdle like this is because Penhill, Forheen, Catchit, Isterbrack, Hardy Eustace are the only winners of festival novice hurdlers since my birth to have returned to Cheltenham and won a hurdle race the following year. And that's because the really good novice hurdlers go over fences.
And let's back that up, because you get it quite a lot at the previews, or you should do it at the previews, but I have to say, until I go into preview mode, I forget this. Last horse to do the Supreme Champion Hurdle double?
Yeah, it's a long time ago. I can't remember it.
People are screaming at the telly. I'm going to put you out of your misery because you haven't got that long. It's Beulah, 1971.
But that's because not many of them try, do they? Because they'll go over fences.
It's the Ballymore, of course.
It's a step up in trip.
I absolutely guarantee you that none of the Supreme winners won the Supreme like Constitution Hill did.
No, but what I'm saying...
But it's
but
1971.
No, but the point I'm making is that you don't get an opportunity because most of them don't go for the champion hurdle, do they?
No, although there have been horses who placed in the Supreme who came on and won. And
Yes,
quite
have.
A few
Yeah,
of
they
them,
have.
Belvedere.
But again, because a lot of the other horses go over fences, that's the time test.
Yeah.
All right, let's go through them because this is a champion hurdle and the parade
They're on
is
the
happening.
track. He looks absolutely $1 million, Dave.
He's a beautiful animal, isn't he? He's absolutely superb. The Constitution, then nothing phases him. They say at home, don't you remember? He didn't really shine in his early days. He does nothing on the track. But recently, Nicky Henderson gets out that line. I need another miler to work with him. There he goes through the line. Following him is Zanahiyr, third last year, somewhat contentiously so. Some people thinking he could yet, despite the fact he's the rag of the lot pretty much, still pick up a piece for one of the minor honours, Zanahiyr. What about I Like to Move It? Come on, let's move on to some of the other players because I really like this chap. The more I see the sun beating down at Presbury Park, he loves the minimum trip here. He's the Greatwood winner. I was so taken with him in the Kingwell last time. He clocked a great time. He broke First Street. First Street's not even turning up here, and this is a serious animal.
I think he's very, very good horse, isn't he? But, he's not Constitution Hill. He's not State Man. So we're looking at probably third place for the best. It could actually be a really interesting race for third, couldn't it? Between Vauban and...
Does anyone worry about State Man's chances that he tries to beat Constitution Hill and pays for it?
What, like John Bond last year? That's what they said happened to John Bond last year, was he rode the race to beat...
Well, it was almost like he was
he
trying
was
to
up
beat
with
Dysart,
wasn't he? And then, I mean, it could happen, but...
I think he'll cling on for second.
You think this is the... Matty Batch came in when Constitution Hill was in the fighting fifth on the show and said this is the forecast of a lifetime. Constitution Hill to beat Epatante. Are we overcomplicating this forecast? What does the forecast pay? Should this be what we're doing for the Injured Jockeys Fund, this forecast? I mean, is it just going to pay pittance?
It's going to pay nothing, isn't it?
I'd like to move it to it. I think he's going to get third. In the without market, you can back without Constitution Hill and State Man.
Should we do a tri-casting?
Should we do that? Should we do Constitution Hill to beat State Man
and to beat I Like to Move It?
And I Like to Move It in third. Okay, let me fire.
As long as they don't go, as long as St. Twist and Thames doesn't go too,
I'm
nutty
slightly worried about the... He doesn't have to. He showed that at Wincanton last time.
So that's as long as that doesn't happen. The form of the I like is the win on this season.
He got pigeonholed as a grinding, Hardy Eustace type, if you like, but there was nothing wrong with that.
I think Vauban needs another year. I think I'll reassess Vauban in a year's time. I feel like he's been pitched in the deep end. He's in that tricky year, isn't he?
It's so difficult for the 5-year-olds.
Should we get this bet on then?
Yes.
Should we get this bet on?
I'm slightly worried about State Man, I must say. I wonder whether we might have rated him a bit high at Christmas on 168.
What, you're not sure about him placing?
I'm not sure about him coming second at all.
Why?
I did the piece for this in our Ultimate Guide and said, well, this is one of the undoubted clashes, if not the clash of the week. I think I Like to Move It at the prices, which, treble the price, was definitely the forecast bet because he's a pound off him on his best.
Yeah, but State Man, I think, has got more improvement in him.
Do you know the other thing about Statement that Ross is talking about him finding 7 or 8 lengths? The one thing that he's not done this year is come from behind. And if you watch him in the county hurdle, I watched that back, he sluices through the field. He's had to do not had to do the donkey work. They've just gone on with it, haven't they?
No, but he's been ridden to win races. He's been ridden to win the race in front of him.
Some people some good jockeys that I know and judges say that he's jumped better as a result of going. And we think that's why they're. So whether we see a hold up ride here or not is probably maybe unlikely to some people. But I would love to see him held on to again.
Yeah,
State Man. I'll see what we got.
We'll tell you we can imagine scenarios that will propel Constitution Hill to glory here. We can imagine absolutely copying lot on whatever the distance betting is. But on the speed figures I used, Constitution Hill last year was 6 points better than State Man was when he won the county hurdle. He's rated £6 superior to him. So let's just play it simple. What we talk? To beat Stateman by 6 lengths.
Yeah.
They're out on the track, guys.
That's the sensible one.
For what it's worth, I have very similar to Ross. I have him about £5 clear of Stateman, and I have Stateman clear of the rest. So I'm not sure I'd want to be smashing him to win by 10 and 15.
My question is about Stateman. I need to believe that Christmas form because Vauban didn't back it up next time for whatever reason, and Sharjah is not the Sharjah that we've been seeing. We might see
Sharjah has never
from Sharjah
really
later in
been
the
a
week.
very good horse. You know, this is a misconception.
But with the 168, that's what makes Stateman second fab. That 168, right?
He was a horse that was around in a poor era.
And when he won at Dublin, we've rated him what, £4 off that as well. So you could argue he might have peaked. But look, here's the how far pole.
But anyway, right? This race is not about Stateman, and this race is about Constitution Hill.
Yeah, but we're talking about a combination tricast, man.
We've just done a combination. All that matters in this race is one horse, Constitution Hill. At the end of this race, whatever happens, all we're going to be talking about is Constitution Hill. If he wins, we'll be talking about Constitution Hill. If he loses, we'll be talking about Constitution Hill. We won't be talking about the winner. We'll be talking about Constitution Hill. This is this race, Constitution Hill.
Huge moment for Nico de Boinville. Huge moment for Nicky Anderson, of course, and there is the pole. How far? Interestingly, a lot of you playing it conservatively. Look, the 16 lengths plus, everyone goes, no, that's the respect you've got for this lineup against him.
Well, and also they're going, surely this year, different to last year is they'll want to win this. If they're going over fences next year, they'll want to win this, Aintree and Punchestown, and then go out with a triple header.
They won't mess around anymore over hurdles.
He won't go to Punchestown and Aintree because that's what Sprinter did, and they think that's
go to one.
nearly the end of it.
He won't
he'll definitely go to one. Let's hope the people in Liverpool get to see Constitution
I don't
Hill.
think he will. I think they'll go straight over fences next year.
Well, he didn't reappear after winning the Supreme last year, did he?
No.
Paul Townend is just going to track him, isn't he? Do you feel?
Look at this. Yes, we can see the
Not so sleepy, the
tactics are
pace
mounting
angle.
Up, look. I like to move it up there. Not so sleepy up there. Vauban up there. What else have we got in here? Looking for Jason the Militant, the old boy. Now with Philip Kirby, of course. He is the rag of the lot.
Yeah, he would have had a chance in this. He didn't run a couple of years ago.
10 years ago, he might have been fine.
They all look like old
But
pros.
2 years ago, he actually had a chance and he didn't turn up.
Look at Sleepy. Look, he's such a character, isn't he? Look, they're keeping him all away from the others as usual. What's Johnny Burke going to do on him? Remember speaking to Johnny Burke about when he ran the fight in fifth, and I said, did you want to try and take on Constitution? He goes, well, it's actually the white hurdles I was a bit worried about because he's a right old character, this bloke. Another mention of the white. But he said, I didn't
He actually didn't want to get in Constitution Hill's way.
That's
did he?
pretty much it.
So that'll be interesting here, won't it? Could you imagine if something like that happened? Could you imagine if Not So Sleepy went nuts at hurdle and carried Constitution Hill out?
Come on, don't go down there. This is a nightmare that some people would have had. It was prominent early at Kempton, Constitution. Do you think he's going to try and lead here or just take a nice sit?
I think he'd take a sit behind Not So Sleepy if he lines up, but if not,
I like to move it. Sam Twiston-Davies thinking, yeah, come on, we're going to get on with it. I saw Sam interviewed last week. I can't remember who it was. Might have been on ITV. And he just said, he just had a smile about this because he goes, we're just going to try and win a lot of money.
Yeah, because they've got absolutely nothing to lose whatsoever here, have they, with this horse?
It's going to be a sun chase. So I like to move it, please God, isn't he? So, all right, this is it. All the talking, it's done with. It's time for the 2023 procession job for some of you for Constitution Hill. Or will Stateman be the rival that a lot of the layers are hoping for? Let's find out. The talking's done. Over to Danny Archer for the call. Dan, the sun shines in Prestbury Park.
Not often you get butterflies in your stomach before a race, but this is one of those. This is the Unibet Champion Hurdle Grade 1 contest. 3:30 over the extended 2 miles. Constitution Hill, 4-11, 7-2 Stateman. Vauban at 14s, 22s I like to move it, and 50s, 100s and 250 about the other 3. But as they start to line up, Not So Sleepy goes straight into lead. Vauban on his inside. I like to move it. And on the outside, Constitution Hill. Gap back to Stateman, Jason the Militant. And at the back of the field, Zanahir. I like to move it. Attacks the first hurdle. Pings it nicely. Along with Not So Sleepy. Constitution Hill moves up into third. Vauban, Jason the Militant. Stateman keeping a watchful eye. Paul Townend on his market rival. And Zanahir in 7th. But I like to move it, showing the early pace, G-Rod.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised. They've got Stateman held up in second last.
This is what I wanted to see personally, guys. This is what I think. If with Stateman, this couldn't be going much better at the moment.
Constitution Hill was a lovely position, just in second, travelling nicely, jumped the first well. I like to move it in front. He's right next to Not So Sleepy, Constitution Hill.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say Stateman settled better than Constitution Hill currently. Constitution Hill running a little bit exuberantly. I think I like to move it's exuberant. But yeah, you remember Stateman in the county last year was absolutely incredible the way he came cruising into it. So you get the feeling it's going to be a repeat dose of that ride. And you kind of, the only way you can beat Constitution Hill, I think, is by him kicking on and him hoping that he catches him unaware. So
an interesting move there, guys, as they go out onto the hill on the far side. Then Nico just let Sam know he wasn't going to be able to start this race. He is the keenest I've seen him. While he's not, we wouldn't say took keen hold, he's just full of himself at the minute, and he's also switches off so beautifully. And that's because there is something of a Mickey Mouse gallop on G.
Well, he's absolutely flown the first 2 hurdles, and that's the problem for Nico. He jumps so well, he's almost taken himself to the front, Constitution Hill. He's already alongside I Like to Move It again.
Yeah.
And they're coming up to the third. I bet he absolutely wings it, and then might almost end up in front. I can't believe Stateman's going to beat him from that far behind.
And again, he's nearly jumped his way to the front there, Danny. That was poetry.
That was a
wasn't
beautiful leap. What a leap from Constitution Hill. Now takes the lead by about half a length. I Like to Move It comes back on the inside. Not so sleepy. Vauban, Stateman, Paul Townend just starts to get a little bit closer.
Yes, he does.
Jason the Militant in 6th, and at the back of the field still Zanna here. But up front still I Like to Move It and Constitution Hill going toe for toe.
Vauban's travelling well through the race, isn't he?
In first now.
Yeah, well, again, what you've got
lovely.
You've got an unbeaten course and distance winner in front. You've got a Supreme Novices winner. You've got a County Hurdle winner. You've got a Triumph Hurdle winner. You've got proper Cheltenham horses here, and they're coming back to a track that they've all relished and excelled at in the past. So they're in their comfort zone, those 4, because they've been here and they've done it.
The Triumph winner keeps catching my eye, G, and he like a speed test, will Vauban. I think we're going to see a peak performance from him come what
Slowing
may.
it down again.
They've slowed it right up. Constitution Hill right alongside I Like to Move It. Stateman right behind him with Vauban. But Constitution Hill, I think he's just doing a half speed here, Dave. He's absolutely cruising.
He's absolutely lobbing along. Danny Archer with 3 to jump.
Constitution Hill, and I Like to Move It then. Stateman tries to move into third alongside his stable companion Vauban. Then a gap back to Jason the Militant, Not So Sleepy and Zanna here. But back up front, it's the 2 British challengers at the moment. I Like to Move It in Constitution Hill, who head their way to the next. Vauban in 3rd and Stateman in 4th. They've quickened it up now as they come to this next flight of hurdles. Constitution Hill, he barely touched it. What a lovely leap that was. Stateman now moves into 3rd. Vauban in 4th. Then a gap back to the other 3. I Like to Move It now. It's starting to be pushed along and looks to be struggling as Constitution Hill takes it up. But it's the Mullins duo who now come to challenge. Vauban and Stateman on the outside.
Great jump,
Constitution Hill. What a brilliant leap. Stateman now strugged along by Townend to get closer. Is this where we see him burst away? Zanna here staying on the back of the field. Nico lets him go. And Constitution Hill bursts clear in 6-7 lengths. Stateman in 2nd and a gap back to Vauban. But as they come to the final flight, Constitution Hill, he's barely come out of 2nd gear. He's gliding towards it as they come to the last. Constitution Hill, he's stood off it, but he's through. And Constitution Hill, we might be seeing a second coming. This young horse is special. He's a wonderful talent. Constitution Hill roars to glory in the champion hurdle. What a performance.
Second, Vauban, I think, might have been past the 3rd by Zanna here. Some people were hoping for that one if you had the 1, 2, 3. My Lord, that didn't disappoint, did it? Stateman latched on, and for one brief second, it looked like he might give him a race. And then Nico said, away we go. And oh my Lord, who's counting the distance then? Ross Brierley.
I mean, it was 6 before they switched the camera, and Stateman only for coming to shot. That was easy's not the right word, is it? Because easy almost underplays the fact that Constitution Hill is doing a different dance to everyone else. He raced a little bit exuberantly. He tracked I Like to Move It, I got the feeling that I Like to Move It throughout the entire race was terrified from start to finish. He was like, get away from me, you monster.
Yeah, he was broken, that's for sure.
Those
of us that thought he might stay there, 3 out, you were like, yeah, okay, he's the one that paid for it. Paul Townend cleverly wanted nothing of it early on, did he?
And if we're honest, the only disappointment of that race was that the first and second favourite were in different parishes from the start to finish, and you never actually got to see Stateman go, come on, I'm going to have a go at you. He never, ever got anywhere near to him to land a blow, and that's the only disappointment about that, because Constitution Hill was so good that Paul Townend went, right, I'm going to try and, oh no, you've gone.
How many lengths, Joe Green says out there? I see you, Joey Green. And Hugh Masson says, and he powered himself at the last G. He really took off, didn't he?
Oh, yeah, it was just absolutely flown the last. That is without doubt the greatest champion hurdle performance I've ever seen in my life. It was absolutely superb. He was bang on at every fence. He was effortless. He travelled beautifully. And like Ross said, had come off the home bend, and State Man couldn't even get within 5 or 6 lengths, just even Constitution hadn't even come off the bridle. I mean, this horse is an absolute monster, and he is the most exciting horse to grace the jump scene this century.
If not ever, a lot of people will be saying, and we will get the debrief of that. The Steve Mason and the Racing Post handicappers will be musing over themselves. Usually they're quite quick, G, aren't they, to get out, but this is one that they'll have to think about, because we think we're going to see the highest ever Racing Post rating of a hurdle. It gets us excited, that's for sure. A lot of you are guessing out there. We've got the socials coming in. Soul Survivor, South Survivor. Is it that bad a festival for you so far? Says, what a horse. Let's have a look at some more coming in. We've got Hugh Masson. Destroyed them, says Hugh. Quite right, he didn't really any power himself. Racing Commentator said, blitz them. Oh, jeez, he says. And here we go, one from the Racing Post. This is us. Mission Control. Constitution Hill wins the 2023 Champion Hurdle. I want to hear from you out there. Who had the juicy tickets out there? Who went this day last year? Who's been waiting a year? Get them out, send a picture, get it into us here at the Racing Post. You can do that. You know the handle. Like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Numbers are going crazy out there. We've got a great audience at it. Chris Atkinson comes back on and says, the Frankel of the national hunt scene. It's just, you can't help but think that, Dan, can you?
No, it's freakish. Unbelievable. You know, what a performance. Spine tingling. You don't see races won like that. The way he's just dispatched them. As I said, he's barely come up second gear. Did Nico slap him at all? I don't think he, it's unbelievable. It's one of the most special things I've ever seen. And to be on this earth and not knowing that happened, well, you've got problems.
Yeah, the greatest game of all time. You've got problems if you're somewhere in Mars watching this. Okay, and he's just absolutely spread eagle with them. I mean, Ross, what do we do with this bloke now? Play the game.
What do I do with him?
He's yours. You're Michael Buckley.
I think you've got to be bold, because he was fantastic there, but we don't want to see him do that every year for the next 3 years. So let's get him involved. He's got the size and scope. Michael Buckley, he's done it. What's Michael Buckley's best horse before that? Probably
Finian's Rainbow.
Well, he also had Spirit Sun, didn't he? He's had some very good ones over the years.
Yeah,
but
I think he fancies it though. For talking to, I think he fancies fences more than Hendo. I think Buckley wants it more than Hendo.
Buckers is getting on, isn't he?
Well, Hendo is a straight back. It's like, let's step him up in trip in a few years, or let's send him over fences when he's good and ready. He can.
He was evens with Paddy Power going it for the next year's Champion Hurdle. What price is he now?
1 to 2.
Just 7 to 4 on, so 1 to 2 basically, yeah. And that's like, now we're in Istabrack realm, because when I got into it, understanding about odds and looking at anti-post markets, you'd walk into your betting shop, say for example, in the summer, and you'd look at markets for next year's Champion Chase and all that sort of thing, and you'd see 8 to 1 the field, 10 to 1 the good old days, and then you'd see one that was like 3s on, and it was always in my day, it was Istabrack.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but we don't want to see him do that, do we? We don't want to see him turn up and win 3 or 4 champion hurdles over there. We want to see him become the greatest, the absolute. I mean, he could be the greatest jump horse we've ever seen. Forget Kauto Star. Forget.
Well, these are updated prices here, guys. This is a bit of a shout from us here on the show. We're all everyone who wants to see Constitution Hill in a Gold Cup, right?
He surely will go over fences at some point in his career.
And you can take a chance on that now at 25 to 1. That hasn't been changed, we don't think. They're not having it at all. They think that Hendo will win the day.
You think Hendo will win the battle?
He's going to be 7 this time next year. You don't see a lot of 7-year-olds.
Well, Galopin Deschamps is 7
of course,
years old.
But you don't see a lot of them, right? So,
no. Like I said, if Galopin Deschamps can do it, then why can't Constitution Hill?
Yeah.
What was it? Is it 9 lengths? Are we talking? Is
9 lengths? Yeah, official.
9 lengths. And that was eased up, says Ryan Gledo. Great out there, Ryan. Good to see Gurney on that as well.
6 less than Espoir Delaine.
Dean Gripton out there says could have gone.
Disappointed in my book.
I think that's a fair point. He probably could have gone round again the way he finished. You know, I'd line him up. You know, don't. That was goosebumpy.
It's like watching a different race.
Yeah.
You know, it's like he's running one race and everyone else is running another. And State Man's just won an absolutely fantastic champion hurdle. Meanwhile, there's another horse that's in a completely different race, in a different Paris, like he just jumped in, and he goes home on the bridle and beats him easily. He's a freak.
And Nico salutes the crowd, stands up in his irons, everyone clamouring to get a look at the great champion then. So Beulah, no more. He's stood there on the shoulders of greats, hasn't he, Beulah, since 1971. We have finally seen it emulated, and what a crowd.
Can you rate him on 80 plus though, given he's only beat State Man 9?
I think it depends on where the third is, doesn't it? And
it was Zanahiyr who was third last year. You've got to... Vauban probably, you would say, is nearly run to his Leopardstown form with State Man.
The race is going to be rated around those horses, isn't it? Zanahiyr's and
I mean, it looks like, bearing in mind, you know, if we say Zanahiyr is this time last year was he's a 159 horse, Vauban's a 160 horse, State Man's a 167. If they've all run to that level, and he's beat State Man 9 lengths, and he's beat Zanahiyr, what would that be? How many was he? 14, whatever.
Yeah.
If he stays down the champion hurdle route, we're praying for other freak novices, aren't we? We're praying for. I mean, Hugh Masson's saying in the chat there. I'm just reading this. Hugh, he says he's a bit like Flightline, who was, of course, the monster freak Breeders' Cup win on the flat last year. 6 starts, wins his second gear by a mile. Don't know how good he's going to be. He goes off, but we're going to be able to enjoy the champion hurdle for years to come, or are we, Hugh?
You need him pair a pass
maybe
to bolt up tomorrow.
Constitution Hill maybe for years to come, I guess Hugh's saying. So if he does go to the champion hurdle, does it just become a bit, I can't say boring whenever Constitution Hill gets on the track, but we all want to see it, right? This could be the one thing, you talk about crossover in sports and how we get new people into the game. Well, this is the horse, right?
This is the horse.
This is my Isterbrat, you see. This is the one that got me.
This is the one that is hopefully going to take racing to the front pages, not the back pages. Yeah. And if he goes chasing and ends up in a Gold Cup, he will be on the front page next year.
And I mean, he already is.
It's on all sorts, you know, Lab Bible, all these big social media companies have all posted the replay because people know how special this is.
This is front page stuff, isn't it, I think? All right, who would be his closest potential rival, we're being asked? I mean, at the moment, that was it, wasn't it? I don't know.
There isn't, is there?
Do you think Marine National?
No, but the champion hurdle next year, if all things unfold, regardless of Constitutional, I think Facel Vega will be a champion hurdle horse.
Do you?
And I think the Imperial Pass might be a champion hurdle horse.
Yeah,
he could be the one.
And what you've got to remember as well is there's still going to be a 6-length county hurdle winner and a 10-length Martin Pipe winner who ends up being a Grade 1 horse as well. So there's always going to be those horses emerge. Like I said, you could see a Hunter's Yarn and a Spanish Harlem, and then suddenly Willie Mullins has got 5 horses. None of them can lay a glove on Constitution Hill, and he kind of hopes he does go over fences. But I mean, if Galloping Chance goes and wins the Gold Cup in that style, Constitution Hill wins the champion hurdle in that style, we will have bookended the week in incredible fashion. So you've got this year's that transitional year, isn't it? It's the real up and comers making their mark, and that is the perfect start. Well, I mean, all the Supreme, the Arkle, and the Champion Hurdle, and the Ultima. In fact, every race so far is living up to its billing.
Slowed by 10 seconds, pretty much. That was.
It was slower than the Supreme.
Yeah.
But then how that happens?
This is where times and sectionals and jump racing don't really work out. You can do it maybe from certain parts of the race, okay, like the finishes and stuff like that, but they never run the race the same. It's like on the flat, at least you get more of an even tempo through your races.
Last year, we in the big jump off at the start of the season, we actually ran a comparison of where Honeysuckle was in her champion hurdle. Every single hurdle compared to Constitution Hill, and Constitution Hill was miles ahead of him. Now, this reminds me of what John Randall, remember John Randall?
Yeah. Now, the quizmaster of all quizmasters.
Quizmaster of the Racing Post. The Racing Post historian, probably most famous, of course, for winning on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire that time. Now, he said to me, basically, times are meaningless. All they tell you about is the conditions. Now, I think there is an element of that to be true, but only very special horses can run the very special time that Constitution Hill ran last season.
Yeah, that was a blow up of a clock, wasn't it?
So, he absolutely murdered the course record.
But the problem with time, or things like this, is the danger of overcomplicating it. The times I use, look at this, right? Supreme Novices, 74 for L'Été Temp, Facile Vega 72, Marine Nationale 72. Obviously, L'Été Temp didn't run it, but they finished first and second. El Fabiolo top of the Arkle, Colac Rambler top of the Ultima, Constitution Hill top of the Champion Hurdle.
Yeah.
So you can overcomplicate it, and I'm not saying that every race and every time doesn't tell you. Each story isn't worth the same as every other story, but it's about finding the plot line that tells you the overall story, and it was always going to be again. Constitutional 83 last year, 77 state man. So they've probably run and not far off of similar performances.
And if you can run a fast time around the course, you can probably do it again, can't you? And we've seen that already today. You just said Colac Rambler had the fastest time in the race. I'm guessing that was probably last year's Cheltenham win when he won.
Yeah.
And Constitution Hill had the fastest time in the race, which was last year at Cheltenham. So if you can do it once around the course, you can usually do it again, and that's what's happened there.
Right, there's next year's Champion Hurdle market if he runs. I mean, the even money's long gone actually now.
I don't.
Oh, there is a firm going evens, we're being told. Who is it?
I don't think he'll run.
Sky Bet stick out.
He
They don't think he's going to stay hurdling, basically, if they're going even money.
I mean, that's important. If it was
Well
Unibet,
done,
then we'd have a... I could say if it's Unibet...
Sky Bet going
just
at
at the
sevens,
core.
Marine Nationale, Facile Vega, Rostix. Yeah, Impair and Pass might be the interesting one, might it? Lucia, fascinating, all still to come this year.
It's State Man, not the interesting horse, like Ross says. If Constitution Hill doesn't run, then State Man is a huge price at 7 to 1.
State Man is the ex-celebration, like you said, who every time Frankel didn't turn up, won a Group 1.
And at the start of the season, Danny, if you remember, he was one of the hardest horses to pigeonhole where he would go, because there was some talk of the Stayers, there was some talk of the Arkle. He could yet be the one that goes wherever. Hang on a minute, I'm not hanging around then. If you're going to go Champion Hurdle, we'll go over fences. So it's not that clear cut, is it?
No, it's not. With the Mullins stranglehold as well on so many divisions, well, I'll be interested to see if there is anything that emerges. Will Impere Pass now emerge and be a Champion Hurdle contender next year if he bolts up tomorrow? It's a tricky one. It's a tricky puzzle to solve in a minute. Just a quick word, wanted to say, Nico de Boinville. I know Nicky Henderson and what a fantastic training performance and what a horse he is to train. But this guy, he's ice in his veins. I love de Boinville. I think he can sometimes get a bit of stick. But for me, he's riding the best horse in the race, but he does it so easily. He does it in such a great way. Yeah. He just gets on with the job. He's not bothered about being showy or anything. He just wants to ride winners and ride well for Hendon.
Let's get the app up and see what the lead story is now, because we'll have a beautiful image, I imagine, of Constitution and Nico doing just that. And this is what you get if you're watching the Racing Post app at the moment. All the stories will be developing as they go on. Let's see it refreshed. That was this morning's top news story, of course, the Kingstown. There we go. There he is. That was him. Champion Hurdle. He's one hard held. There you go. So that will be off one of the quotes of Nico de Boinville. And these stories will be updating as they go along. Usually everything's ready to print for the digital edition at about 6 o'clock here. They're the off stone, as we call it, aren't we, G-Rod? So you've got to have your house in order by then, haven't you? So that's the time to be getting involved. If you're not a member here at the Racing Post,
that was Nico de Boinville, apparently, straight after the race.
He's one hard held.
One hard held. What a horse.
Well played, Nico. Playing the game, Roscoe, isn't he? Stoking the fire.
He is, and rightly so, like I said, because he's living. Yeah, this is genuinely the first Cheltenham in years where I've thought every single race pretty much has a fascinating through line, and even the ones where you think, that'll win. It's how they're going to win, how far they're going to win. 2 odds-on shots, one of them's just done their job. If Shishkin bolts up in the Ryanair by 10 lengths, then suddenly the 2 good things have done their job, and every other race is going to pretty much slot into gear behind, and it's. Again, you go through cycles in Cheltenham, so you have your years where your horses who came back last year they do what they did again. You get those muddling years where Lord Windermere pops up somewhere out of nowhere, and you get these years, which comes around every 3 probably, where the new stars of the show go, remember me, this is for the next couple of years, I'm going to be top of the billion, and that's what this year is. And it's not. Like you said, we could have seen whatever you think with Constitution Hill, whatever his exciting things. We just see Marine Nationale, who were We think he could win an Arkle. El Fabiolo, who could win a champion chase, and Constitution, who could win, quite frankly, anything they're running.
Correct Ramble who can win a national.
Correct Ramble could win a national.
Listen.
And we've got the Mayor's
Someone's just
champion
said in
hurdle
the
coming up in a
panel,
second.
I forget your name. The panel's going crazy with so much chat going on the show today, which is wonderful, guys. We've got 3 more days to come after this. One more race on the show, which we are somehow going to move on to, and it's an absolute belter, the Mayor's race. Someone says, can someone just tell me how the bookies are doing today? Should we all just have a little...
You just have a little.
Can you smell it?
Little moment for the
Can you
layers.
smell it? It's an absolute battering, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, life is good here on Racing Post Live. I'm Dave Orton. I'm joined by 3 of the best in the business. Check us out. It'll be the Mayor's race after this.
Best recommendation I've ever had.
I use it every day without fail.
It's my go-to for any race day.
Mate, it's so good.
It's like Frankel, but quicker.
Puts me one step ahead of this lot.
I nearly hit my head. Right, which camera do you want me to look in?
Gilles, what do you think of the new app?
Well, I'm on it now, aren't I? I need it for my job.
There we go, pointing back up as Danny, we've been calling him Adam Sandler all afternoon because he has been furnishing us with water as we go along. One more race to go then. And this panel is split on the 410. It is the Mayor's Hurdle. A lot of people over the years since its inception have said, what on earth is this doing? Diluting my festival. Can we all please just agree that I know the dust is now settling on what will be one of, if not the spectacles of the entire week, and Constitution Hill, that this is an absolute pearler. You tell me a mare who's missing from this lineup currently still in training. This is like if you had a PlayStation game, right, and you're getting all the greats, and let's see the lineup of the mares against each other. It doesn't get any better than this. And there she is. She avoided Constitution Hill. Some were not happy about it at the time. I reckon it might have been a pretty good ploy, don't you, looking at that? It is Henry de Bromell and Rachel Blackmore's time to shine. And she's just about favourite for Marie's Rock, of course, herself a festival winner. Epatante. Oh, it's that Constitution Hill former champion herself up in trip she goes. Brandy Love, a lot of sexy thoughts about this one going on. Echoes in Rain, extremely talented. Has it dried? A little bit too much for Love Envoi. No tougher mare in training, I'll give you that. Queensbrook, money for that, and she wears it well, who's a sneaky one for Willie Mullins. This is a belter. G-Rod, what wins?
Yeah, it's a great race, yeah. I think that you're over-egging it a bit by saying that like all of the greats are turning up there. I think we're talking,
Mares!
I think we're talking about all of the old has-beens, aren't we? Yeah, we're talking about Honeysuckle and Epatante and...
You're having a mare. You should be lining up in this race.
all the old,
What's
all
the grey mare? Ellie May.
all the
We'll
old
see you
has-
later in the week, shall we, you grey old mare?
Well, I think Love Envoi is an absolute stonking bet here. I mean,
Yeah, I bet you did this morning when the heavens were opening, but we've seen it drying.
doesn't matter.
Yeah, I love her as well, to be honest.
She, you know, she's got some great form. She's won at the track. She was very good here last year. That was over 2 mile 1 furlong. She stormed up the hill. All her best forms over further, I think. She'll improve going back up in trip here, which should be ideal. And she's also going forward.
She's been pretty weak.
Yeah, which is strange, isn't it? Because Tom and Paul, Kills and Siegel, are both tipped her, and yet nobody wants her. But would you say, and I'm hazard a guess, that there's a bit of sentimental money knocking around in this market? You know, just
There's
a little
nearly
bit.
2 million matched already on Betfair Exchange,
I
and
mean,
it's
people
a lot of it sentimentality.
People are just going to turn up and back Honeysuckle or Epatante probably because they like them. But it's a fact. Honeysuckle is on the wane. Yeah, I mean she's 9-4 favourite, and I don't think she would have won this race at her very best, let alone in this race where she's racing against some top class mares. Epatante definitely isn't good enough. So the only horses that can beat Love Envoi are Marie's Rock and Brandy Love, who of course beat her at Fairy House last year and was very impressive there. But Brandy Love got absolutely thrashed, didn't she, on her reappearance in Ireland?
By?
I can't remember the name of the horse.
Well,
now.
perhaps Ross Riley would like to tell us this.
By Queen's Brook, who was
Queen's Brook,
20 to 1 earlier on and is 12 to 1 now. And
That's your bet, isn't it?
She wouldn't be good enough. She wouldn't be good enough to win this.
oh, she could be.
No.
Well, she could be. If Honeysuckle and Epatante are on the way down, and Brandy Love and Love Envoy don't improve, then all she needs to do is run to that level last time out. If you win this, that's the.
I mean, I really like Queensbrook. She's a nice, solid filly, but I don't think she's a star.
No, I don't think she's a star either. No, but she's never been out of the front three. She finished second in this last year. She's bettered that performance on her last start. I just think she's the one horse in here that I know what I'm going to get from her, and it's good enough to finish in the frame. And it was 5 to 2 Marie's Rock, 18 to 1 Queen's Brook, and I was thinking, well, hang on a minute, there's not that much between them, is there?
No, I think you might be right there, but I think there's an awful lot between Love Envoy and Queensbrook, and they're both the same price.
Okay, so some alternative looks according to the market base. I think everyone. I mean, Love Envoy was a rare British novice winner of a hurdle race, and she is mighty tough, isn't she? I just love her, and the rain has come for her. Matty Williams, our dear friend, was on Good Morning Cheltenham this morning. If you watched that on our YouTube channel, he said I would have loved to have had a go at the place money in the Champion because I think she'd have been banned there. He likes her here. He also likes Brandy Love, he was saying, Matty, and he's an absolute judge of judges out there. So look, we wish her all the luck in the world. We'll be screaming her own Matty. I had a little chat with him after that as well, and he's down there thinking they've got a right old chance. But it's amazing how the track can just change. And if it was sloppy, do you know what I mean? If it was like Cheltenham last year on the Wednesday, wet ground, you'd be all over her, I think, to go really close in this. Tacky ground, which is called, it's going to be verging on now as it dries. I'm not so sure about.
I don't think it matters.
I think we're looking at gift horse in this race.
What?
I think we are looking at gift horse, and it is the last leg of the Lucky 15.
You like Epatante, don't you?
I am very keen. If you'd told me at the start of the season I'd be backing Epatante in this, I'd laughed you out of the park. But then this has got a changing shape about it, this race. And I think over the trip she'll beat her old rival Honeysuckle.
I would have been
And I
concerned
think
if
she
it was
beats
soft.
stablemate Marie's Rock as well. The information I'm getting from the Henderson yard as well, that is not a bad way to be looking at it. And she is something of a forgotten horse, and she does have that big tick next to her name. She has the exhilaration form, Ross.
She does, absolutely, yeah. And she's going to find this a lot easier. Again, if we're undercomplicating this, then like I said, the speed figures have been absolutely spot on for the best races here. On this, the best performance over the past 12 months was Marie's Rock beating Epatante at Punchestown. And if that is the form you're going to follow, then Epatante shouldn't be 6 to 1 to Marie's Rock 9 to 4, especially given that she'd run in a champion hurdle, then bolted up at Aintree, and then went to Punchestown and was clearly, probably a bit gassed by that point. She's clearly a very, very classy horse. If again the figures, if they're right, Marie's Rock, Epatante, Honeysuckle, Queensbrook, that's your 1, 2, 3, 4. If the numbers are right, I genuinely don't think the novices are quite as good as they need to be to get past.
The younger mares.
This is quite interesting because usually Ross and I are very similar.
Yeah, and you've been knocking in winners, and I've been.
And I've actually got Love Envoy with 2 of the top 4 figures in the race on my figures. So Ross and I obviously have gone different paths today.
Yeah.
Is it surprised that none of us have gone for Honeysuckle?
Not at all.
Yeah, well, she's favourite. It's a bit of a surprise, isn't it? People out there will be thinking.
I got to ask the question. Like I said to you,
Mission Control have gone for it. Can we get the scores up for the Cup with 1 to go?
I think I'm still winning. Do you think that Honeysuckle would have won this race when she was at her best?
She has won this race.
Danny, what are you on here, Danny?
Yeah, but like this race, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Marie's Rock, Epatante, Brandy Love.
Yes.
You do? Well, I'm not sure.
She's run. I mean, even on RPL, she's run 1.5 in the past 12 months. She's run 1.58 3 times, which is better than anything in this race has done. Full stop.
That's true, but
Some
of these have not had the opportunity to record a big rating.
She ran a 1.46 Marie's Rock in this when winning last year.
In the sense that
she's going to have to better that by quite considerably.
You're talking about Honeysuckle, right?
In the sense that if Love Envoy had run in the races that Honeysuckle had run in, I think there's a good chance she would have ran better than her.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. I think,
Do you?
Yeah.
Wow,
Well, they're
okay.
not, they were honestly they were knocking Harry Fry's doors down to go to the champion hurdle.
This is one of my best bets of the day, but I don't know what's going on in the market. It's like 14-1 and drifting
It
like it can't
is
possibly win. But
What's going on in the skies? I'm telling you,
tempted-
it's the sun.
I'm tempted to have a bit more on.
Then I shall let you crack on with
know?
that. Well, we've got Michael Buckley being interviewed at the moment.
wonder
We're
what
hoping the
he's
Mission
saying.
Control are on
Yeah.
that, abreast of it, because we'll give you exactly what they say. Look, the quotes are key, aren't they, going forward? We have a lot of fun with that in between the races, and that's the part of the game, isn't it? But now let's home back in. So I'm Epatante. Ross Brierley is one for Gordon Elliott.
Yeah, like I said, I backed Queensbrook each way, 4 places at 18s. I've just had a little bit more on 5 places each way, and I've boxed up Honeysuckle, Marie's Rock, Epatante, and Queensbrook because, like I said, I mean, it's so far day one isn't normally my day because if it's the bookies' day, then the way I play, it's not going to be working out for me.
No,
but
of course.
This is the one. But sometimes you can start to learn your lesson, and like I said, so far the obvious ones have been winning at the top of the figures that have to repeat those performances. I don't think that novice form from last year. The Racing Post doesn't think that novice form from last year. It was the joint worst mares novices at the festival with Eglinton de Searle. And do you think Eglinton de Searle would have improved to beat Honeysuckle, Epatante, and Marie's Rock? I don't think so. So I thought Brandy Love looked very awkward behind Queensbrook last time out. I know it was her first run since April.
Grimace there. Grimace. Danny is replicating the crowd, I think, out there.
Yeah.
This is a preview. Tomatoes coming your way.
No, sorry, I was actually laughing. Genghis for Mission Control need more oxygen. I thought that was very funny.
I need more than that. Wait till you see him on Friday.
Right-handed. I think tight track didn't help her. She was well conditioned reportedly as well. Brandy Love. I think she'll come on a ton for it. I think at the prices, I'd be happy to go each way with Brandy Love. I was more of Marie's Rock.
There is a reverting to the left-handed thing. Now, look, you get talk of the previews was something that we did on some of our shows coming in. What's the talk of the previews? Because we had so many men doing them, we thought we might as well try and get the whispers. And people do like the sort of buzz. I got one early on about Brandy Love, and I've got told how much they paid for her, which is a pretty penny. I'm not going to reveal it, but they were expecting an okay run at Punchestown. And I think they were expecting better they got. But the one thing, if you're with Brandy Love, it's reverting to this way round. She can be a bit buzzy, so I'm going to put G-Rod on pre-lids.
Comfortably, but she won a Grade 1 at Fairy House.
But that was despite the fact that, see, when you listen to Patrick and Willie talking about this horse, they think that that's the freak performance that made them think we have got a worldie because she hung like a gate away from Love Envoy. My issue with that is that Love Envoy might have been slightly over the top by that time because she had a couple of hard races. But that's just a personal view.
She did drift like a barge though before that Punchestown. I think 4-7 out to 6-4, wasn't she?
There
Brandy
you go.
Love. So that was a bit.
And she still ran a blinder, but she sprinted away from a Brandy Love. But Paul Talon was very easy on Brandy Love in the Quavega, sort of Punchestown.
I kind of disagree with it, and I'm going to have to watch it back to see.
Her. I know how much they pay for this.
I don't.
He was not going to beat her up to get second.
I think she just blew up.
She was 3/4 length down. Queensbrook coming.
She was a huge drifter.
Brandy Love is absolutely swinging away as they come around that bend. You go, okay, this is where you expect a genuine Grade 1 horse to go and at least go eye to eye with Queensbrook.
So you're looking at this negatively just to remind the viewers.
Look, I mean, that's just, for me, that's horrible. She looks awkward at the final hurdle. She kind of hangs the race away. She gets passed for second as well. Look, I'm not saying she can't win by any stretch of the imagination. I just think that the novices aren't as good as they need to be. But improving novices are what the counter argument to that is that improving novices win this race.
Your second season types, you mean?
Well, apart from Quavega, everything's been 5, 6, 7 years old, and you've got.
Well, it is a bit skewed this race from a trend perspective, of course, because we've
Glenn's
had
Melody and.
Well, that was a shot. That should have been a Benny de Jure, shouldn't it?
Yeah, no, that was.
When did Benny de Jure fall? Oh my lord!
What one was Annie Power?
Annie Power, and then Benny de Jure was.
Oh, memories!
Benny de Jure was Roxana, wasn't it?
Yeah. We're going to go off air after this, guys. So while we're just waiting for the mares to go down, a reminder of the tips. We are split for the first day. We're not tipped, which I think sums up what sort of a race it is. And look, this is who else do you want in this race?
I kind of want to answer that question. I didn't even know that was a question.
More and more confident the more I see that sunshine. Danny's on Marie's Rock, the stablemate. Graeme is in Love Envoy. Ross, Queensbrook, and Mission Control, giving a chance to the Queen, Honeysuckle, unbeaten until she rocked up this season, of course. And let's talk about Honeysuckle a bit more, shall we? Shall we? Just because the Hatton's Grace form, I mean, Tihupu went and looked like an absolute worldie, albeit a subpar Galmoy when he stepped up to 3 miles. And Classical Dream, when fresh, as I've said at the start of this show already, is a monster. He's a supreme winner. You know, he's
multiple grade one winner.
Multiple grade one.
He's not.
But she ran a belter on her return. There was nothing wrong with it, despite the fact she got beaten.
Tihupu might be a monster, but Classical Dream is
he's fresh.
Six grade ones.
He's a very good horse.
6 grade ones.
6 grade ones.
Classical Dream.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He does have a habit of kind of letting. He won the Galmoy actually, did what Tihupu did, and came to last year's state. And I wish they'd never run in a minute because fresh for him. You remember when he came back after 2 calendar years off or whatever it was, and at Punchestown, and Patrick said to me after that when I talked to him later on in the year, he said, I don't know whether he's flattered by that because he just felt so good that the others just not turn up. But my point being, that was nothing wrong with that run. Last time she did look like the fire was maybe dwindling somewhat.
She's on the decline. That's expected, 9-year-old.
But then that form has been advertised, right?
I mean,
in the champion hurdle. So
Stateman, Vauban, Zana here.
Yeah.
So the 3 horses out of that race who've run have just finished 2nd, 3rd and 4th behind
I think on
Constitution
paper
Hill,
she had to go off favourite here, didn't she? I'm a little bit surprised. I mean, Maurice Rock is really pushing her for that now, guys, that position. So, Danny, this is your last call of the day. Sterling work today, by the way, my man.
you, no.
Highlight of Danny Archer's day, bar Constitution Hill.
Bar Constitution Hill. Not much. Fast or slow, getting mugged on the line. Been a pretty bad day, to be honest with you, Dave. Things can only get better, as someone once sang, I think.
But okay, now take the punting out of it.
I think Marie Nationale was impressed. Both the first two, Marie Nationale and
The future is alive. We love the jumps, and the future is alive. Ross Brierley.
Apart from Constitution Hill, I thought that the Supreme lived up to its billing.
Yeah, that's your sort of race.
I love those. I love the races where you're like, okay, let's sort the wheat from the chaff. Who's a genuine contender? And that answered more questions than it posed.
It's been a good punting day for Graeme Rodway, but as a spectacle sort of performance of the future sort of thing.
Oh, I've absolutely loved it. Yeah, I think it's been a fantastic day. All the stars have turned up. They've delivered. The bookmakers are taking a beating.
We had a combination tricast going.
Tricast up, back the winner of the first race, and I'm hoping it's going to get better here. I can't wait to get down there tomorrow.
Yeah, all right. Okay, in the know later tonight as well. He's a busy man, is old Roscoe. What time are we on later, Rosie?
6:30 later with I'll be in the studio on my own again.
With the statue?
With the statue who we're going to have to get a different scarf. Depending on, if Honeysuckle wins, it might be a nice transition.
Depending on what sort of day Kills has had, he might just be about as lively as Kills as that statue. We'll get that back up. Join Ross. Numbers have been magnificent, by the way, last night, weren't they?
I think this is the other thing that we need to mention as well. Numbers are great on this as well. Over the past few years, the Racing Post has really invested in these video brands, these products, and this is you build an audience by coming back time and time again. And there are people. We've had comments in various things. In this one, only in the know, saying I've seen, watched these shows and spent more time with my immediate family over the last 6 weeks. And that's great. It is great to build that audience.
Yeah, don't worry, people. It's nearly over. Okay.
Depends on what you like your family, doesn't it, I guess?
But right now, it's been a brilliant first day, isn't it? Absolutely magnificent. Whether you were on Facile or something like that, we've seen what we want to do from Constitution. Fingers on the buzzers for those RPRs. I'm fascinated to see because they'll be very tempted, I think.
I don't think it will be.
Has Stateman run above himself? That's the question.
I don't think it will be as big as
I think it'll be 178, 179.
It'll probably be a career best.
Was he 177 coming in this?
176 coming in.
176 coming in. He's better at that.
Probably a 178 maybe, but just with regards to this race, looking forward, the 50-1 outsider, Fear to Glory, I'm absolutely convinced they're lining that up for a crack at the race that they won last year in April. So I think that. Keep an eye on how that runs.
She'll like the drying ground as well. She's a big improver.
She's not out of it. She's not out of it if she's right. But I have a feeling that maybe they've April in mind.
Yeah, she wears it well as the other round in this, and I mean the fact she's 40-1 tells you just what it is. And all right, Danny Archer for the final time today. Then it's the 410. It's the mare's race, and it's an absolute sizzler.
We didn't mention Echoes in Rain as well, who's going to be ridden cold. See if Patrick Mullins can work wonders on that one. They're off though. Love Envoi and Honeysuckle going to know the lead along with She Wears It Well. So Three of them in a line at the moment. Marie's Rock, Epatante, Queensbrook, Theatre Glory, Brandy Love, and at the back of the field, Echoes in Rain. So not going much for a gallop. Speed there, just 28 at the moment, 28 miles per hour. Honeysuckle out in front, ahead of Love Envoi. She wears it well, and a gap back to Queensbrook as they approach the next. Honeysuckle a nice leap over it. Brandy Love a little bit big at that one, and Echoes in Rain at the back of the field. You surprised Honeysuckle's leading?
That's the question we're all asking out there, guys, isn't it?
Very surprised. I mean, how many people did you hear argue after she was beaten by Tahupu and Classical Dream that she was outstayed?
And Tom Siegel saying, I'm worried about her on the prevailing conditions getting home. Well,
So I'm very
Team de Bromhead.
surprised to see her go to front. Love and Fire's actually taken it up there and gone 2 lengths clear, which I'm absolutely delighted with because they're going no pace here at all.
Look at Echoes in Rain at the back. That's the worry if you're on her. She's a classy animal, but she does pull for her head, Ross Brierley.
Yeah, she does indeed. Yeah, she's a 2-miler, isn't she? And she's usually getting a nice gallop to chase there, but Love Envoi has just settled out in front. She wears
she hit that.
Yeah, but there was an incident at the start, and I remember Tom Siegel saying that the start of the race is the one bit that most people ignore, and it's probably the most important. She wears it well, jumped off strangely, impeded Marie's Rock, and they've both got pole positions down the inside. Now, they went a right gallop last year, and Marie's Rock picked them off. This is a completely different race. And if we're talking about horses being outstayed, well, going a crawl over 2.5 miles, not going to challenge that, is it?
There's some interesting running comments coming for you out in their community as well. And listen, thank you for being with us today. All the likes that are out there, that's what it's all about. I've asked you for it. It's gone up through the roof, over 10,000 views. We're loving it. Stick with us this week. When something happens at Cheltenham, we will react. And we're doing it to this race. Good luck, Jack Dobson out there. He's on Marie's Rock for a monkey in this. There must be loads and loads of ACCAs going up, I would imagine. Doubles and trebles and all that sort of stuff. Honeysuckle sits in second then as they go out on the far side, Danny Archer.
Love Envoi slid in front by about 3 lengths ahead of Honeysuckle, then a gap back to She Wears It Well. And on the rail now, Marie's Rock, who moves into 4th. Queensbrook in 5th. Epatante quietly ridden in 6th. Brandy Love, Theatre Glory, and then at the back of the field still is Echoes in Rain. Still a very slow pace, Ross, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah, which admittedly, there's been a few races today where they've started off slow and then they've gone through the gears, quite frankly, a little bit too soon. So it's all about when Love Envoi tries to win this race that's going to make the difference. The one I don't like the look of it is Marie's Rock, who's refusing to settle, didn't have that good start.
She was very keen when she won the rail kill, though. That's when she really impressed me, because she outstayed Dash or Drasher despite pulling for her head.
See, this is the key thing. We had a slow pace early on in the other races, and they quickened it up. They've just
G-Rod, how are you feeling? Because Love Envoi, she loves a battle, and she's gonna try and keep swatting them off.
Absolutely delighted with the way this race is working out for me. She's just quickening it up now in front, Johnny Burke. But I'll tell you what, she is a tough horse to pass, Love Envoi, and she will not be easy for them to get past.
Where's Brandy Love, guys? Look at this one.
Yeah,
at the back with Echoes in Rain, so the Mullins drew at the back.
Through that.
Marie's Rock jumped that one well, though, in third,
she
and now
did.
tries to move into contention.
She's a racy animal, Marie's Rock, and if it turns into a bit of a sprint, this is going to suit her, I think.
Yeah, well, I mean, she's unbeaten since she stepped up in trip, pretty much. So, yeah, I don't know. I think she does like a bit of a test. I think Honeysuckle's in the correct position here. If you can kick, if Rachel Blackmore can kick and get this race by the scruff of the neck, she might surprise a few of them.
Queensbrook warm up with a beautiful jump there, Ross. Unlike Brandy Love, who was a bit sluggish, Marie's Rock is just seeing in Epatante, who's being ridden for that turn of foot. At some point, this has happened to Aidan Coleman before with Honeysuckle in the race. He got stuck on the inside one, Champion Earl. The Suckle is now in second and poised, guys.
In the van.
This is a repeat of the Champion Hurdle.
This is it, Aidan, you've got some gahones, my man.
Yeah, absolutely. Queensbrook's going wide, which worked earlier on, of course, in the Supreme, was definitely the best place to be over.
He's trying to kick on now.
Here he goes, Johnny Burke. Overdrive.
They come down the hill. Love Envoi starts in front, ahead of Honeysuckle, who's travelling well in second. She Wears It Well, and Queensbrook on the outside of Marie's Rock. Echoes in Rain is the one who's creeping into it now under Patrick Mullins, as Brandy Love drops back to last. Epatante being ridden along by Aidan Coleman, and Theatre Glory, the outsider.
She's responding
there
as
as well.
on the inside.
Love Envoi start to front, as all of them have a chance.
Really tanking.
But they're all tanking because they've got no pace early on.
Come to the second last. Love Envoi now starts to turn on the turbo. Honeysuckle in second. Queensbrook travelling really strongly. Marie's Rock looks to be in trouble on the inside. Honeysuckle now comes to take on Love Envoi. Queensbrook in second. Brandy Love staying on from the back of the field. They turn in. Love Envoi still out in front ahead of Honeysuckle. It's been between these two. Love Envoi for Harry Fry. Honeysuckle for Henry de Bromhead. They come down towards the last. Honeysuckle and Love Envoi. Love Venvoir galloping out. Honeysuckle now rallies up that hill. It's a hill that she knows so well. Champion hurdles. Two mares hurdle. A heroine of a lifetime. Honeysuckle wins a second mares hurdle. 4 Cheltenham Festival wins. She goes out in fine fashion.
Hi, the suckle, everyone will be shouting. Well, the doubt. Oh, my Lord, Love Envoy. What a race she's given her. Johnny Burke goes over to Rachel Blackmore and says, hats off. You could not have kitchen sinked it more on the runner-up. The 2 went miles clear. She had a little think about it, honey, but she knows where the winning line is at Cheltenham. And she goes out, we think, probably on a high, guys. Unbelievable scenes here on Racing Post Live. The dual champion hurdle winner takes another mares. Ross.
I mean, Rachel Blackmore must have gone into muscle memory there. She must have just passed out and said, I'm going to press play on both of my rides, or every ride on Honeysuckle pretty much at the Cheltenham Festival. She tracked the pace set by Le Venvoir, and she knows when this horse is ready to kick. And she challenged Le Venvoir, who, to be fair, has run a blinder, but being given the best ride, I think, in defeat by far we've seen today at the Cheltenham Festival.
She's
possibly
so
all week.
tough, isn't she? Gee, you must have thought you had it.
I thought I had her. When she jumped the last so well, Love Envoy, I thought she might out-battle Honey, but fair play. I mean, they got it right.
And another Fav wins, and if you want stories, which of course we do for the wider public, to see how magnificent this game is, all the crap that's been written about the whip and all the airbrushing of posters, keep it in this time, Jockey Club, because that is what stirs our hearts. Sometimes we're an industry scared of our skin. And you know what? This is just about the best mare you can remember because she's so brave.
What a day it has been for racing as well.
Absolutely amazing.
If you could have sat last night and written out how the day would go and how you might want it to go to promote racing, what a day.
Yeah, all the girls in Ireland, Ross, we saw, didn't she, when they came out of COVID, they went to see her Hatton's Grace when she won it 2 years ago. All the girls that flew to see Rachel, that everyone wanted to see the Honey.
Yeah, and absolutely. And look, there's a potential by the end of this week that Tiapu could beat Classical Dream in the Stayers. Constitution will the champion hurdle beating all those. Pied Piper could go and win the counter, and you could be like, every single piece of form this season is going to stand up. Yeah. And those races which people were picking holes in left, right, and centre are going to be the key ones, because Honeysuckle has, like I said, she's run to the last season, the past 12 months, run to the level 3 times better than anything else in this race. Yeah. She's just matched that level. Le Venvoir is improved. Queensbrook is the standard bearer, and third makes a big difference for all the filthy each race I've had, so I'm happy with that. But she's run to pretty much the same level she did last year, I think. Le Venvoir's improved a bit. Marie's Rock clearly wasn't at the races. Epidont doesn't stay.
She slightly missed the second last looking at that as well, and she's picked herself back up.
And I don't know how much they pay for Brandy Love, but quite frankly, I've not seen anything to suggest that at all. Suggest that was a good investment. But this is the correct. It's everything. There's going to be people sat at home on multiples through the roof.
Oh, yes.
On El Fabiolo, on Marine Nationale, on Honeysuckle, on Constitution Hill.
She wasn't great the last either. No. Gee, that's when you thought you had it, wasn't it?
I had her then. Yeah. I thought we were just going to
She's missed the last 2.
But, she was fantastic. She was absolutely fantastic today, and there was a lot of things said about where she should run and shouldn't run. I mean,
this is the next point I was coming to.
I made a lot of points about her not running in that race, and she should run in the champion hurdle. They made the absolute right call. They got her there in peak condition, and she was brilliant.
And a word for the De Bromhead team, because it's been a horrendous year. And looking at Henry there, he's in floods of tears, and quite right. It's not been going their way on the track really either. The strike rate's well down on what it was. But when the sun shines in Prestbury Park, it often does on Henry de Bromhead and his family, and this magnificent mare of a lifetime. And hey, Aplutard still yet to strut his stuff come Friday.
Not to mention, he's got 5 in the race named after Jack in his honour as well, which, I mean, we talk about emotional victories and whatever. If he were to train the winner of that, I mean, he could have the TriCast in that, for God's sake. It would be an insane week, really.
Yeah,
and like I
said, something a forgotten horse in the Gold Cup as well. But gee, tough time. This is the place that it means everything to them. That's great to see, isn't it? And this is what we want the public to latch onto.
Absolutely fantastic to see Honeysuckle win for Henry and Rachel, and great for the sport. Great day, hasn't it?
Yeah.
3 fantastic days to come. Can't
And
wait.
I'll tell you what, you flexed your muscles a bit as a commentator. Which was your favourite one? Because you've roared home some classics here.
Constitution Hill was special, but actually for the story, that is such a poignant story.
Yeah.
Really, there's everything about that. Probably the final race, as Rodders has the trophy, but it was just so special that I'll probably never see a mare like that again for a long time, and for her to go out like that after all the criticism.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks, Danny. Well, listen, thanks for joining us. You go and enjoy the rest of the week.
Thank you very much. No Cheltenham. I've got Dubai instead. They've given me.
Hey,
so
there you go. There
so
may
I'm
well
on the
be
flat
another
with you.
flight line hiding. The trophy update is there. Oh, where's Mission Control? Oh, come on, Ross.
Have I finished last?
Ross.
Of course, I had all the favourites have won.
Control.
An easy victory.
And Graeme Rodway
Easy
takes it out. The insufferable
Easy
bear
victory.
lifts the trophy. You'll be back on
I'll be
Friday
back
to have
on
a go.
Friday, and I'm definitely going to beat Melrose on Gold Cup Day.
It's
Can
going to
you
be a
imagine
tussle.
that?
Forget State Man. Constitution Hill. This is the betting editor versus assistant betting editor. Graeme, great to have you. Enjoy your spin at the track. Ross, good luck with the note tonight. 6:30, yeah?
There you go, mate. Yeah.
Happy days. I've been Dave Orton. What a thrill it's been to have you as well. Great for Mission Control. It's the jumps. We love the jumps here on Racing Post Live.